They entered a room filled with various measuring device and training facilities. There, she measured his level and tested his skills for the documentation. Ethan revealed what was only necessary while hiding other abilities after learning the requirement list. That way he could be safe more. The previous incidents reminded him to be cautious, never to do anything reckless again. After an hours of grueling process, finally Ethan got his E-rank hunter license, and headed out from the guild. "Ethan, you're here." "Thank goodness," a crisp female voice called out to him. Ethan turned to see Lenora Emberian, the girl in fiery red from the tavern. Her sudden appearance surprised him, especially since she finally used his real name for the first time ever. "Why are you here, Lenora?" he asked, knowing full well the answer. He realized he missed her invitation to the dungeon raid due to being at the prison at that time. Lenora's face turned into a slight pout. "What do you mean by why am I here? You missed our appointment for the dungeon raid. Why didn't you show up?" Her tone was like that of an annoyed kitten. Feeling a twinge of guilt, he said, "I'm sorry, Lenora. I was caught up in an unfortunate accident, so I wasn't able to join you guys." Lenora's expression softened a bit. "Oh, okay, if you say so. I accept your apology. Now, let's go somewhere to talk in detail," she said, pointing towards a luxury-looking tavern. Ethan, sensing Lenora's discomfort, agreed. "Sure. Let's go." They went to a beautifully decorated tavern with a serene atmosphere. The place was luxurious, with ornate decorations and a royal aristocratic vibe. The sweet smell of incense filled the air, creating a perfect setting for their conversation. Although Ethan was unsure about spending time here with someone 3 years younger than him to be exact, Lenora seemed to enjoy the place, so he went along. The dishes were expensive, costing as much as an average family's monthly expenditure. However, recalling his ability to earn money easily, he decided to splurge a bit. As they ordered a variety of expensive dishes, they resumed their conversation. "Ethan, the rest of my party members are really mad at you now. They started cleaning out the dungeon on their own." "What are you going to do?" Ethan chuckled softly, imagining their reaction amusing and troubling. He could imagine how they would react when he met them again. While he wasn't sure if he needed a party, considering he could handle things solo, he didn't want to be alone and lonely like his previous life. He wanted to change and find joy. Despite the cruel people in this world, there were good ones too, like Arya, Aunt Greta, and perhaps this girl in front of him. Her character still needed to be evaluated further. "I'll apologize to them when we meet, Lenora." "That day was really hectic for me," Ethan replied softly, not going into details. Lenora smiled lightly, satisfied with Ethan's response. Their lunch continued with occasional talk, laughter, and chuckles. They planned to set another raid together with her party 2 days later. She told him that she would try to convince them again. Afterwards, Ethan went to the hunter's market to buy materials for upgrading his sword. Although his D-rank sentient sword was powerful, he wanted to upgrade it further for added assurance. Thereafter, he learned that a nearby auction house would feature valuable materials. However, he needed more money than he had about 500-700 gold coins, according to the market. So, once again he discreetly gathered more funds by selling a few sentient weapons once again. After a while, he amassed a total of 500 gold coins in banknotes this time. Otherwise, who would carry this much money? He put the banknotes in his pocket and left for auction house with quick steps. Unbeknownst to him, a small boy of 10 began to follow him in secret, his actions finally catching someone's attention. At the Heavenly Florence auction house, Ethan registered as a participant. The staff were taken aback by the amount of wealth as he displayed the banknotes before them. It's not like they haven't seen that much money on others, but considering his background and age, it was a bit surprising. "All right, sir, your procedure is complete. You can proceed to the venue," the staff said with a smile. They didn't forget to take the entrance fee at all. Ethan nodded and made his way to his seat in the large auction hall. The auction hall was a circular building with a small stage in the center. Ordinary people sat on designated seats surrounding the stage, while VIPs occupied the rooms above. Ethan surveyed the grand venue filled with guests, wondering if they were all there to bid or simply to watch the spectacle. The thrill of witnessing others spend money with reckless abandon seemed to be part of the excitement for many. It was as if the act of spending, more than the actual purchase, held a certain allure in this gathering. As the grand venue continued to fill up, a young man beside Ethan leaned in and whispered, "Hey, dude, are you here for bid as well, or are you also here for watching others throw their money around, like me?" Ethan turned to see a skinny young man with loose brown hair, his clothes a bit rumpled, suggesting he was likely a commoner as well. The young man's curious eyes hinted at a mix of eagerness and uncertainty. "I'm here to buy something," Ethan replied calmly, his tone measured. "What's it to you?" "Nothing, dude. Just asking casually," the young man responded, trying to sound nonchalant. "So, what are you planning to bid on?" Ethan found the young man's curiosity meddlesome. Rather than indulging him, he simply turned his gaze back to the stage, choosing to ignore the question entirely. The less attention he drew to himself, the better. In a place like this, keeping one's intentions under wraps was a matter of survival. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our monthly auction ceremony. Hold your horses, folks, because we have a selection of treasures that you'll definitely want to claim for yourself," announced the middle-aged auctioneer, stepping confidently into the spotlight. His voice echoed through the grand hall, commanding the attention of the diverse crowd gathered below. The hall was abuzz with excitement. Ornate chandeliers cast a warm glow over the sea of eager faces, while the rich, red velvet drapes added an air of opulence to the venue. Wealthy patrons, collectors, and curious newcomers filled the plush seats, their eyes fixed on the auctioneer and the treasures yet to be revealed. With that, the ceremony commenced to a chorus of enthusiastic applause and cheers. The atmosphere was electric, charged with anticipation and the thrill of potential discoveries. Ethan waited with bated breath, his heart racing in anticipation of the materials he was interested in. He sat towards the back, his eyes scanning the stage as assistants wheeled out the first items for bidding. The flicker of gold, the shimmer of rare gems, and the gleam of ancient artifacts captured the attention of the audience, their murmurs filling the room. While his primary goal remained paramount, Ethan couldn't help but feel a spark of curiosity about the other intriguing items the auction might unveil. He noted the competition around him, seasoned bidders with steely gazes, their wealth and determination evident. Not to forget, the VIP nobles as well. Yet, he was undeterred, his resolve strengthened by the 650 gold coins he possessed. It was not a low number. It should be enough to buy some materials, right? The auctioneer, holding a small vial, announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, our first item is an A-grade health restoration potion. Crafted by a renowned alchemist, this potion can restore a dying man to full health in seconds." Gasps and astonished murmurs filled the room as participants reacted to the high value of the potion. The sheer rarity of such an item sent a ripple of excitement through the crowd, and even the most seasoned collectors couldn't hide their amazement. Ethan was also surprised. An A-grade potion. Amazing, he thought, his eyes widening as he leaned forward in his seat. The potion's shimmering liquid seemed almost magical, a testament to its alchemical perfection. The starting price for this precious item is 5,000 gold coins, with bidding increments of 100 gold coins, the auctioneer declared, his voice brimming with confidence and authority. As soon as the MC finished speaking, VIP guests jumped into the fray, bidding with fervor. An A-grade health potion was indeed a rare find, and for many, it was a lifeline. The atmosphere in the hall grew intense as guests from the VIP rooms raised their paddles, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of determination and desire. 5,000 gold coins, shouted one VIP bidder, swiftly followed by another. Regular commoner could stared at the scene with envy. 5,000 gold coins were a lot to them. They counted the numbers in silver coins and bronze coins, reminding how high it was out of their league. 5,100, 5,200, 5,500. Ethan watched the escalating bids, his heart pounding. He marveled at the intensity of the competition, recognizing the potion's potential to tip the scales in any critical situation. His fingers drummed on his armrest as he calculated his own resources, and found out that he don't even qualify to bid for an A-rank item. Well, it's not like he won't get his chance to get one. They started with a rank item first, likely to make the venue exciting from the start. As the bids soared higher, the auctioneer's hammer hovered, ready to strike. As Ethan remained silent, the person beside Ethan seemed excited a little. Wow, a rare item right off the bat. Looks like this auction is going to be something special. What do you think, dude? Ethan shrugged. Who knows? 6,700. Came a dignified voice from room No 21. 6,700 gold coins from room No 21. Is there any higher bid? The auctioneer called out, scanning the room for any remaining contenders. No further bids came in. The price had already exceeded most people's budgets, and the air was thick with the realization that the first item had set a high bar for the evening. The auctioneer began the final call, his voice measured and deliberate. 6,700, once. 6,700, twice. 6,700, sold. With a decisive strike of the gavel, the A-grade health potion was claimed. As the first item was successfully sold, a murmur of excitement and anticipation rippled through the crowd. The auction had begun with a bang, and expectations were now sky high. Ethan grew concerned about whether the auction would feature the materials he needed. He tapped his foot anxiously, recalling the detailed information he had gathered. According to his sources, the rare and essential components he sought should be available here. But with such fierce competition and sky-high prices, he worried about his chances. He adjusted his position, trying to maintain a calm demeanor despite the uncertainty gnawing at him. The thrill of the auction was undeniable, but for Ethan, it was more than just a spectacle. It was a crucial opportunity to acquire what he needed for his sword. His mind raced with strategies, ready to seize the moment when the items he sought would finally appear on the auction stage. The auction continued, with rare items being presented one after another. Ethan's mood grew heavier as he failed to find any materials suitable for his needs. His eyes were glued to the stage, hoping for the right opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, the item number 21 on our list is a set of 5D rank sentient swords, each with special effects attached. You know how rare it is to find this kind of weapons, right? So let's get started. The auctioneer paused for dramatic effect before continuing. The starting price is set at 350 gold coins for all 5 swords, with increments of 10 coins each. Finally, something affordable for people like us, murmured the common hunters, excitement flickering in their eyes. Yes, leader, we should definitely get these swords, one of them urged, nodding eagerly. The common hunters began discussing among themselves, their interest evident. Meanwhile, the nobles in the VIP rooms dismissed the swords with a wave of indifference, considering them less valuable compared to the more exotic items they usually pursued. Ethan was surprised to see his swords being auctioned there. Then it also meant that he might be able to find his desired materials soon. He leaned forward, intrigued by the shift in dynamics. The auction had primarily catered to the elite, but this item opened the floor to a different group of bidders, bringing a new energy to the room. He was also interested in seeing how his swords would fare in this auction. The D-rank sentient swords, though not the most powerful, were rare and useful. Their sentience meant they could potentially grow stronger and develop unique abilities over time, making them valuable assets for any hunter. As the bidding commenced, Ethan watched closely. The common hunters' excitement was evident as they raised their paddles, their voices competing in a fervent but friendly rivalry. 350 gold coins. A party leader bid. 360. Another bidder added with a fierce grin. Despite the aggressive bidding, others were not deterred. The auction continued with increasing bids. 370, 400, 450, 500. At last, the swords were sold to a party of 6 hunters for 600 gold coins. Ethan was astonished. He had sold each sword for 50 gold coins each, and here they had been auctioned for double that amount. He wondered if he should have auctioned them instead, but given that he was a bulk seller, such a result was somewhat expected. Now, for the next item, we have a single chest bone from an adolescent wyvern. It's a C-grade material and highly valuable for crafting. the auctioneer announced with a smile. The crowd gasped. Although wyvern bones were not extremely rare, they were still considered valuable for weapon crafting. The murmurs of excitement and appreciation filled the hall as attendees discussed the potential uses for such a material. Ethan's interest was instantly piqued. He had been looking for this type of material for his sword. If he could get it, his sword would receive a significant upgrade. His eyes focused intently on the bone displayed on stage, its smooth, ivory surface gleaming under the lights. The auctioneer's voice echoed through the grand hall. The starting price is 500 gold coins, with increments of 50 gold coins. Let the bidding commence. Ethan's eyes widened at the announcement. He hadn't anticipated the item to be valued so high. He quickly calculated in his head he only had 650 gold coins. Would it be enough? Sensing Ethan's interest and uncertainty, the young man beside him leaned in, a sly grin spreading across his face. So, you're eyeing that piece, but short on funds, huh? Ethan, caught off guard, nodded and replied firmly, yes. With a mischievous twinkle in his eye, the young man produced a few bank notes from his pocket and handed them to Ethan. Ethan's surprise deepened as he realized he was holding notes worth exactly 600 gold coins. He stared at the young man in disbelief. Why does he have so much money? At first he thought he was just a commoner, but now Ethan began to doubt the young man's identity. Ha ha. The young man's smile grew wider, sensing Ethan's curiosity. The young man chuckled. You can ask me questions later. Use this for now, he said, laughing. Coming to his senses, Ethan accepted his help and quickly placed his bid. 500 gold coins. The auctioneer's eyes turned to Ethan. We have a bid of 500 gold coins. Is there any higher bid? 600. A burly man from the back raised his hand, glaring fiercely at Ethan. 650. Ethan raised his paddle and said calmly. 700, said a girl from the back. Ethan looked at the girl, and shouted, 750. 770. The girl raised once again, struggling a little. 850. Ethan said, not caring about the beautiful girl at all. Hearing his bid, the girl backed down with a disheartened face. 900 gold coins. The burly man gritted his teeth, his gaze never leaving Ethan. He was also close to his limit. 900 is already a lot for a commoner hunter like him. His hesitation spoke the truth. Ethan remained calm and composed. 1,100 gold coins, he declared, his voice steady. What? Is this guy mad? Directly raising it to 1,100? What a moron. Some guest whispered, taking Ethan for a fool. On the other hand, Ethan had raised his bid to 1,100 gold coins, intending to intimidate the burly man and discourage any further competition. The room fell silent for a moment, the tension palpable as everyone waited for the burly man's response. The burly man hesitated, clearly weighing his options, before finally shaking his head and lowering his hand in defeat. Congratulations to participant number 987 for obtaining the adolescent wyvern bone, the auctioneer announced loudly, looking at Ethan. At long last, Ethan had secured the bone of a wyvern for 1,100 gold coins. The burly man gave Ethan a fierce glare, but Ethan didn't care. It was worth the trouble. He picked up the wyvern bone from backstage and returned quickly. The bone was remarkably sturdy and etched with intricate runic symbols. It was about 3 feet long, so he had to place it in a large box. Taking the box, Ethan sat down and looked at the young man beside him with grateful eyes. Thanks for that. My name is Ethan Smith. What's yours? Ethan asked softly, extending a hand for a handshake. The young man chuckled lightly before replying, You're welcome, Ethan. My name is Leon. Forget about my family name for now. Nice to meet you. He flashed a bright smile. Yeah, same to you. But can you tell me why you helped me? Ethan asked, curiosity evident in his voice. No one helped for no reason, right? Leon leaned back in his chair, his eyes twinkling with amusement. Because you needed it. Aren't I right? Moreover, I can tell you won't cheat me. I observed you closely earlier. You don't look like someone who cares about money. Seeing Ethan's confusion, Leon elaborated, his voice taking on a more serious tone. Look at these people, he said, gesturing subtly to the crowd around them. Whenever they hear a large amount of money, Their faces glow with greed and desire. They whisper, plot, and scheme. But you're different. Your focus is on something far more significant than gold. Ethan's gaze followed Leon's gesture, taking in the eager faces, the eyes that shone with avarice at every bid. He saw the truth in Leon's words but still couldn't shake off his doubts. What if I ran off with your money? What then? Leon's laugh was hearty, drawing a few curious glances from nearby bidders. If that happened, my character judgment would be a joke, he said, his smile widening. Then, his expression turned steely, eyes sharp as daggers. But trust me, no one can cheat me out of my money. I have ways of ensuring that doesn't happen. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine at Leon's sudden change in demeanor. It was clear that this young man had layers he couldn't yet fathom. I see, he said slowly, nodding in acknowledgement. Well, I'm grateful for your help. I will return the money for sure. Ethan became curious about this stranger's background. Leon looked so confident, as if he were some kind of lord or something. At first, Ethan thought him a minor character with a meddlesome personality. But now, Leon seemed entirely different. Is he one of those low-key protagonists, or some kind of mysterious side character? Ethan wondered. Deciding to find out more, Ethan cast appraisal to uncover Leon's identity. To his shock, it didn't work. That could only mean one thing: Leon was at least above level 50. How frightening. What was he doing here? Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. Why would someone so powerful be at the commoner's sitting area? It isn't normal at all, he thought, glancing at Leon with newfound respect and caution. The young man beside him wasn't just a generous stranger, he was a formidable presence, cloaked in mystery. Leon seemed to notice Ethan's scrutiny and raised an eyebrow, a knowing smile playing on his lips. Trying to figure me out, huh? He asked lightly, his tone teasing yet gentle. Ethan coughed and turned his attention to the stage, looking at different items with intrigue, as if there was no overpowered character beside him. After more than an hour, the auctioneer left the stage, leaving everyone confused. Soon, a gray-haired old man appeared on stage, bringing a hexagonal-shaped box with him. As the ordinary participants quieted, excited sounds from the VIP rooms became more evident. What was so important inside the box that made these nobles so excited? Ethan, you might meet an unexpected event today, Ethan heard Leon mutter excitedly, with a hint of anticipation in his eyes. The old man on stage cleared his throat, commanding the room's attention. Honorable guests, I am Gresham Bella, the owner of this glorious auction hall. I am here to present the last precious item of today and witness the joy it will bring. This is a salvation for mankind, a historical relic, and a piece of our glorious past. We are honored to present it to you after so many years of darkness. Ethan's curiosity piqued even further. What could be so significant? He glanced at Leon, whose eyes were fixed on the stage, a fierce intensity burning within them. Gresham Bella continued, his voice reverberating through the hall. All right, let the finale of this auction begin. With enthusiastic applause, the old man opened the hexagonal box, revealing an ancient-looking key that glimmered faintly under the stage lights. This, Gresham Bella announced, his voice filled with reverence, is the key to the ancient land of treasure, where our legendary hero Libros once obtained the famous Demon Slayer sword. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in as the crowd murmured in awe. You must be wondering, he continued with a slight chuckle, why I didn't keep this treasure for myself. His tone carried a hint of irony. The answer is simply it would require an astronomical amount of energy to activate. So, keep that in mind, honorable guests, as you consider its true value. The room buzzed with astonished whispers. The legend of Hero Libros and the Demon Slayer sword was well known, but the key to that ancient land had been thought lost forever. Wait, is the key real, Gresham? Tell me honestly. Suddenly, a deep and imposing voice boomed from one of the VIP rooms. The old man stiffened slightly before replying, his tone respectful and reassuring. Yes, my lord. I vouch for it with my honor. Okay then, proceed. The overbearing person said arrogantly, his authority palpable. Ethan's eyes widened as he realized the gravity of the moment. The key to the ancient land of treasure was not just a relic, it was a gateway to untold power and wealth. He glanced at Leon, whose eyes were alight with a mix of anticipation, and a fierce grin spread across his face as if he was waiting for some kind of prey to appear. "It should be in any moment," Leon whispered, his voice extremely calm all of a sudden. Ethan kept quiet, choosing to stay out of the matters of such powerful characters. He knew meddling in their affairs could be perilous, perhaps even fatal. "All right, let's start the bidding," Gresham Bella announced. "You can place your bid as you wish for this item." 5,000 gold coins. The bid came from a well-dressed VIP who looked both eager and determined. As soon as he finished speaking, several other VIPs joined in, their bids escalating with an urgency that suggested their lives might depend on it. "Fools," Leon muttered quietly, his disdain barely concealed. Ethan caught the words clearly and glanced at Leon with bafflement. 7,000 gold coins, 8,500 gold coins, 9,000, 10,500, 15,000. The same imposing VIP bid, his voice dripping with arrogance as he glanced around the room, daring anyone to challenge him. His demeanor suggested he was a very high-level character, someone of considerable influence and power. "He is the Devil Ape Clan's leader," Leon said, noticing Ethan's interest in the man. His voice was calm and controlled. "Oh!" Ethan exclaimed, his curiosity piqued. "The Devil Ape Clan? Are there no other powerful clans that could rival him?" Leon chuckled softly. "Ha ha, the real show hasn't started yet, dude. This is just the beginning." Watch closely. As the bidding war intensified, Ethan could feel the tension in the air. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation and unspoken rivalries. He watched as the VIPs engaged in a fierce contest, knowing that the true significance of this auction was yet to unfold. Just as the auction seemed to be winding down, a commotion erupted near the entrance, causing a stir among the attendees. Dressed in luxurious robes, several new groups entered the auction hall, attracting immediate attention. Wing Tiger Clan arrives. Following them, other prominent groups made their entrance. Thunder Leopard Clan arrives. Fire Crow Clan arrives. Silver Moon Clan arrives. Phantom Wolf Clan arrives. Each clan was represented by 30-40 people, moving in organized groups of 5-6 important individuals each. The hall buzzed with excitement and curiosity as the new arrivals made their way to their VIP rooms, their presence adding an extra layer of tension to the already charged atmosphere. Others watched in awe as these powerful clans entered, each one exuding an aura of authority and strength. They had heard tales of their influence, but seeing them in person was an entirely different experience. They were the 5 great clans of Arcadia City. Their mere presence commanded respect. Ethan's interest was piqued when he heard the names of the Fire Crow and Silver Moon clans. He scanned the crowd and spotted Arya and her uncle among the Silver Moon clan members. Arya's father, a stern-looking man with sharp eyebrows, was in the center. Among the Fire Crow clan, Ethan didn't recognize anyone immediately, but his thoughts were preoccupied with Lenora. She also wasn't present there. Neither was the leader of the Fire Crow clan. Instead, a few powerful elders were present. The presence of these powerful clans brought an air of tension to the auction hall. "Ha ha, how can you start the fun without us, Gideon?" laughed Miral Nortel, the leader of the Winged Tiger Clan, a person in his 50s, while glancing disdainfully at the Devil Ape Clan's room through the transparent glass. The leader of the Thunder Leopard Clan, Zephyr Stormclaw, chimed in. "It seems Gideon doesn't respect the 5 great clans anymore, now that he's achieved S rank." "So arrogant," he snorted. HMPH. In response, Gideon, the leader of the Devil Ape Clan, snorted in irritation. "Whatever. But you should all know this, the key will belong to our clan in the end. No one can change that." The other clan leaders responded with disdain. "We'll see about that." They all huffed and proceeded to their respective VIP rooms. "See, brother, that Gideon never respects us. He's so arrogant." Astrid, Arya's uncle, complained to Arya's father. Arya's father sighed. "I know. He's always been like that. But he'll get his karma today. Isn't this why we're here?" He paused before continuing after a brief moment. "For now, focus on looking for any suspicious activity. Today's mission should not fail. This is our primary goal." Arya, her uncle, and the rest of the Silver Moon Clan members nodded in agreement. As the Silver Moon Clan members settled into their seats, Arya's gaze unexpectedly fell on Ethan. What is he doing here? She wondered and became worried, recalling their mission of coming here. This could be dangerous for Ethan, she realized, and her face turned pale. Their eyes met, and they exchanged a brief nod. Her father noticed the interaction and inquired, "Who is that boy, Arya? Do you know him?" Arya's uncle, recognizing Ethan as the boy he had saved from imprisonment, kept silent, curious about Arya's response. A mere broken bar. Arya hesitated. "Yes, father, he's a friend." Her father shook his head disapprovingly. "Arya, how many times must I tell you? You can't just befriend anyone. It doesn't fit your image as a noble." Arya lowered her gaze, feeling a pang of frustration and sadness. She wondered if her father would ever accept her feelings for Ethan if their relationship ever deepened. Once everyone was seated, the auctioneer resumed. "We have received a few more honorable guests at our auction hall, so let's continue where we left off. Lord Gideon has offered 15,000 gold coins. Are there any higher bids?" "We, from the Winged Tiger clan, offer 17,000 gold coins. 25,000 gold coins from the Firecrow clan. 26,000 from the Thunder Leopard clan. 28,000. 29,000. The bidding escalated rapidly as each clan vied for the prize. The other participants could only watch in awe, realizing the stakes involved in this auction. "Brother, the time is here. Shouldn't we place our bid now?" Astrid asked, anxious. Arya's father remained calm. "Not yet. Wait for a little more." Arya, meanwhile, continued to focus intently on Ethan. Her uncle shook his head, realizing Arya's distraction. Gideon, fuming with frustration, raised his bid to 33,000 gold coins, nearing his limit. 35,000. The Firecrow clan countered. 36,000. Gideon snapped, glaring at everyone with bloodshot eyes. Bartards. It seemed the other clans were deliberately pushing Gideon to his limits. "Brother, the price, already gone so high," Astrid said, concern evident in his voice. "We should bid now, right?" Everything had gone according to our plan, after all. Arya's father nodded. "Yes. Raise the stakes now. Push Gideon to the limit. Only then will he reveal his true face to us." "Okay, brother." Arya's uncle nodded and raised his paddle for an increased bid. "Arya, focus. Where are you looking?" her father snapped. "HMPH." Arya pouted but returned to her seat in frustration. Her heart was full of worry regarding Ethan's safety. "We have a bid of 36,000 from the Devil Ape clan. Are there any higher bids?" 40,000, Arya's uncle announced loudly. The crowd gasped. 40,000? The Silver Moon clan is really wealthy. "Yes, as expected from an elite assassin clan." Bang! Gideon, furious, smashed his chair. "Damn these cockroaches. It looks like I have no choice." He turned to his subordinates. "Go and bring them here. It's time to make our move. We can't let them get the key for the humans." His subordinates, clad in dark, imposing armor, nodded and quickly left the room, their movements precise and intimidating. The tension in the auction hall escalated as people whispered among themselves, speculating about Gideon's next move. However, even after waiting for a while, there's no further offer from the Devil Ape clan leader, so the key went to the Silver Moon clan. Congratulations to the Silver Moon clan for winning the auction at 40,000 gold coins, the auctioneer Gresham announced, prompting applause. Clap, clap. While the other attendees clapped, the major players in the room knew that something significant was about to unfold. Ethan, sensing the rising tension, knew he had to stay vigilant. Despite his decision to avoid meddling, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was already too involved. "Ethan, stay sharp." Leon's urgent warning snapped Ethan back to the present. The seriousness in Leon's eyes was stark against the chaos erupting around them. "Get to safety." Leon's command was underscored by a cruel smile, hinting at something more sinister at play. What could be the reason for his sudden seriousness? Ethan's confusion turned to alarm as he scanned the auction hall. The luxurious ambience had been abruptly overshadowed by an encroaching darkness. Strange humanoid creatures, their forms grotesquely twisted, emerged from every corner. With their horns jutting from their foreheads, tails flicking behind them, and eyes glowing an unnerving red, these creatures were unmistakably demons. "Ah, demons, help!" The demon's presence sent ripples of terror through the crowd. Their sudden appearance was a brutal reminder of the dark history of this world, where two realms existed in constant strife. Ethan suddenly recalled the history of this world. The vast world of Mithralda was divided into two realms: the human land of Solace, blessed by the gods, and the demon land of Abyss, cursed and forsaken, were eternally at odds. The vast majority of land of Solace were occupied by the humans, and alongside them lived demi-humans and elite magical creatures such as dragons, phoenix and more dominant ones. On the other hand, Abyss was full of demons, deemed the cruelest creatures for mankind. Demons, the embodiment of cruelty and suffering, were bound to their bleak land until they found their demon god. This demon god deity granted them the power to breach the boundaries between the realms, leading to catastrophic invasions. The demons, after breaking into Solace, had wreaked havoc on humanity. Then came the heroes who were picked by the system to grant salvation for the humans. The arrival of the heroes, wielding the holy power of elements, was the only way to kill these demons forever, as demons were nearly immortals due to their species ability. Therefore the heroes gained the status of deities from mankind, making them subjects of worship and reverence. Their battles with the demons were fierce and costly, culminating in the defeat of the demon god and a temporary retreat due to his serious injuries. The demon god accumulated grudge with the heroes because of this. However, the heroes were not unscathed either. In that battle 2 out of 7 heroes died, leaving humans in remorse for their loss. Like this, the cyclical invasions occurs every few centuries between two parties. As a aftermath, billions common humans dies every time it occurs. Even then no significant result achieved until the appearance of hero Labros, titled the Demon Slayer. He got the Demon Slayer sword, and let the humans made the replicas of the sword. These replicas allowed other regular hunters also joined in the fray and vanquished demons of their immortal ability. As a result, the humans gained upper hand and sent back demons to the abyss with catastrophic damage for the demons. It happened nearly 500 years ago. And presently the demons began to extend their demonic clutches towards the human land once again. Back to the present. As the demons began their brutal assault, panic surged throughout the hall. Shouts of terror filled the air, and people scrambled, their fear palpable. Ethan saw one unfortunate soul being drained of blood by a demon, his body rapidly desiccating into a skeletal husk. The sight was horrifying, underscoring the demon's deadly hunger. Ethan tried to calm his goosebumps, and find a safe place to hide. Amid the chaos, Miral Nortel, leader of the Winged Tiger clan, stepped into the fray. His display of raw strength was impressive as he crushed a demon with his bare hands. Yet, even this did not end the threat. As the demon began regenerating almost immediately, the regenerative ability of the demons was a terrifying prospect. This was the same ability that made them unkillable 500 years ago. However, humanity had devised a countermeasure, holy elemental swords capable of destroying even these creatures. Miral brandished his holy elemental sword, its blade shining with a purifying light. With a decisive swing, he struck the demon again, this time reducing it to ashes. The flames of purification consumed the demon, ensuring it could not regenerate. Silence. Miral's commanding voice cut through the chaos, restoring a semblance of order. His authoritative presence reassured the crowd. Everyone, calm down. These fiends cannot harm you as long as we 5 great clans are here. Every clan members took out their holy elemental sword as if they were prepared for this beforehand. The other clan leaders, floating above the ground, exuded an aura of immense power, further reassuring the frightened crowd. Their combined presence was a formidable deterrent against the demonic threat. Arya's father, Alja Silvermoon, addressed the crowd with a grave tone. We have everything under control, citizens. From the beginning this trap was planned to deal with both the demons and the traitors among us. His declaration about the trap, using the ancient key as bait, sent a wave of murmurs through the crowd. Ethan, though somewhat understanding the strategy, was troubled by the recklessness of risking so many lives. Yes, the lords are right, guys. We have the best of the best powerhouses amongst us. We don't need to worry. Yeah, how can we forget the 5 great clan members are amongst us? They will save us for sure. Some people began to murmur, feeling reassured. Ho ho. As the crowd began to calm down somewhat, Gideon, the Devil Ape clan leader, made a dramatic entrance. With him were several high-ranking demons, their formidable presence adding to the tension. "Och, are you that sure, cockroaches?" Gideon's taunting words revealed his betrayal. "Look closely. I've brought these elder demons to ensure that no one leaves here alive." His maniacal laughter filled the hall, heightening the dread. Arya's father's voice thundered with righteous anger. "So, our suspicions were correct. You are the real traitor, Gideon." The other clan leaders joined in the condemnation, their voices echoing their outrage. "What a shameless traitor! He should be burned to death." "Kill him." Gideon remained defiant, his confidence unshaken. "You think you can handle this? These elder demons will bury you all here alive." His taunts were met with resolve from the assembled leaders. Miral Nortel's gaze was steely, his sword gleaming with anticipation. "Just 5 elder demons? We have more than enough power to deal with them." His preparation for battle was evident, and the other clan members prepared themselves for the impending conflict. The auction hall had transformed into a battleground, with the fate of everyone present hanging in the balance. Ethan, caught in the midst of this epic confrontation, had no choice but to brace himself for the inevitable clash between the forces of light and darkness. "Ha ha, is that why you're all so confident about?" The Devil Ape clan leader's laughter echoed through the air, dark and mocking. "Then let me show you something." At his signal, the shadows around him seemed to writhe and stretch as more elder demons emerged. The ground trembled under the weight of at least 20 more elder demons that appeared, their massive forms looming like nightmarish towers. The 5 great clan members stared in disbelief. They had expected a tough fight, but these 25 elder demons was beyond their wildest fears. The unexpected appearance of so many powerful foes sent waves of panic rippling through them. "What do we do, clan leader?" "I don't want to die here," one of the panicking warriors cried out, his voice trembling. "Clan leader, there are 25 of them. Should we retreat before it's too late?" another asked, eyes wide with terror. "Enough." Miral Nortel's voice cut through the chaos with a sharp edge. "Shut your mouths, cowards. We are not going to surrender. If anyone's going down today, it will be him." Miral Nortel pointed toward Gideon. Arya's uncle, standing close by, looked around with increasing anxiety. "Brother, we're in serious trouble. They have 1,000 ordinary demons and 25 elder demons. We barely have over 100 fighters. Shouldn't we have brought more men? And that arrogant Gideon is an S-rank powerhouse. We're no match for him at all." His gaze locked onto Gideon with a mixture of fear and awe. Arya's father, maintaining a grim but composed demeanor, addressed the situation with a steely resolve. "Don't panic. Help will arrive soon. Focus on dealing with the other demons for now." Arya, positioned near her father, was intensely focused on Ethan, her worry for his safety growing with every passing second. Amidst the roiling chaos of battle, her gaze was fixed on him, her concern palpable. "Kill everyone." The Devil Ape clan leader's command rang out like a death knell, directing his demons to commence their onslaught. "Defend and charge." Miral Nortel's order was immediate and forceful. His voice was a rallying cry for all the hunters behind him, members of the 5 great clans. The clan leaders were ahead ready to face the elder demons. Armed with holy elemental swords, the hunters advanced towards the demon ranks. Their blades glowed with sacred energy as they fought valiantly to protect the terrified commoners. Despite their skill and determination, the sheer number of demons made their task nearly impossible. They fought with fierce determination, bringing down a few demons, but the battlefield quickly turned into a cacophony of demonic roars and anguished screams. Blood and fire mingled in a gruesome dance. "Brother Alger, come with me," Miral Nortel shouted over the din. "The rest of you, please focus on taking down the elder demons," he said to the Zephyr Stormclaw and other 2 leaders. In response, they nodded and ordered their men to kill the lesser demons, while they would be facing the elder demons, even though the task seemed impossible. "Yes, leader," came the unified response. The hunters moved swiftly, their resolve set on the daunting task before them. Their fate was uncertain, hanging in the balance between life and death. This could even be their last fight of their lives. Ethan stood alone, his heart pounding as he saw a demon approaching him, its grin predatory and menacing. "Oh, SHT, he muttered under his breath, his mind racing. What level is this guy? Can I handle him? He activated appraisal to gather information about the demon. Name, #%. Species, blood demon. Rank, lesser demon. That's it. What's lesser demon rank? Is it their own hierarchical rank? No specific level. Ethan cursed softly, frustration mounting. Looks like I'll have to find it out in the hard way. Drawing his sword, he prepared to face the demon. Roar. The demon charged with a guttural roar, its claws and teeth gleaming with lethal intent. Azula sword strike. Ethan took a deep breath, channeling his energy into his attack. The blue flames of his sword surged forward with incredible speed. Buta. Clang. The sword collided with the demon's tough hide, producing a metallic clang. The blade failed to pierce through the demon's flesh. Ethan's eyes widened in shock. Why is their body so tough? It's like I am hitting some kind of hard metal. Are demons always this tough? #. The demon spoke in an unfamiliar, mocking tongue, taunting Ethan for his blatant weakness. Undeterred, the demon intensified its assault. Ethan, sensing the urgency, activated muscle enhancement, and, enraged, feeling his strength surge to new heights. With boosted agility, he dodged the demon's ferocious claws, narrowly avoiding deadly strikes. #%. The demon's rage seemed to escalate. Ethan's annoyance grew. You talk too much. Time to end this. He activated Inferno Leap, propelling himself into the air with a blazing force. Boom. The impact of Ethan's leap created a massive crater upon landing. The enhanced Inferno Leap showcased his newfound power, and a few onlookers, including some of the combatants, noticed the display with astonished expressions. However, they were too occupied with their own battles to offer comments. Arya, watching Ethan intently, was stunned by his dramatic increase in power. However, she understood that despite his newfound strength, it wasn't enough to defeat a demon without holy swords. Determined to help Ethan, she focused on her own fight against an elder-rank demon. She intensified her attacks, using her dagger with renewed ferocity. As the dust began to clear, Ethan observed that the demon's wounds, though significant, were healing at an alarming rate. If this continues, how am I going to kill him? Ethan thought, frustration growing. If only my sword was more powerful, he mused. His gaze fell upon the wyvern bone lying nearby. Acting quickly, he crouched down, placing his sword beside the bone. He carefully concealed his actions from view. Synthesis. He activated universal synthesis and silently prayed for the success. Ding. Congratulations. Synthesis successful. Appraisal. Titanium runic sword. D. A draconic skeletal sword. C. The sword had transformed into a formidable, sharp bone weapon. Crafted from wyvern bone, a lesser species of dragon known for its might. The sword now looked both majestic and formidable, reflecting the power of its draconic origins. Appraisal. Name, Draconic Skeletal Sword, Sentient, Grade, C. Attack Power, 91. Durability, 300. Special Ability, Dragon's Wrath. It triggers at critical times, dealing massive damage up to 200 points. Without wasting a moment, Ethan gripped the newly acquired sword firmly and swung it down with all his might at the demon, who was poised to launch another attack. Slice. This time, the blade cut through the demon's flesh with an ease that was previously unattainable. The demon let out a gut-wrenching scream of agony, his fury palpable as he was astonished by the injury inflicted by the seemingly insignificant human. The wound on the demon's chest began to close rapidly, the healing process visibly accelerating. Damn! Are demons some kind of undead or something? Ethan exclaimed in frustration. How am I supposed to kill these things? The demon, now enraged, charged at Ethan with its gaping, bloody mouth to bite him and drink his blood. Ethan began to defend himself while retreating, his mind racing to find a way to finish the demon off. Just as the standoff reached a critical point, a striking figure with silver hair appeared beside him. It was Arya. Without hesitation, she tossed a gleaming sword toward him. Ethan, use this, she urged, her voice filled with urgency. Ethan caught the sword effortlessly and, in a seamless motion, cast Azula Sword Strike. The demon, caught off guard by the sudden turn of events, was sliced cleanly from his waist by the flaming sword. As the sword struck, the demon's body erupted into flames, reducing him to a charred, burning corpse. Ethan stood momentarily stunned by the sheer power of the weapon. Its potency was beyond what he had expected. Appraisal: Holy Elemental Sword, Fire. Grade, B. Attack Power, 148. Durability, 340. Special Ability, Holy Purge. It has effect to purify demons. The sword was a B-grade weapon, imbued with holy fire that radiated a sacred aura. It was designed specifically to combat demons, and its holy flames were a testament to its divine nature. Thanks, Arya. If you hadn't shown up, I'd have been in serious trouble. You're a lifesaver, Ethan said gratefully. Arya responded with a warm, charming smile. Yes, I can see that. Ethan was momentarily entranced by the radiant smile, her lips a striking red. But he quickly refocused on the pressing battle at hand. Approaching the demon's lifeless body, Ethan seized the opportunity to activate skill absorption. He knew he couldn't afford to miss this chance. Ding! Congratulations! Your skill absorption was successful. You have acquired a new demonic ability, a blood regeneration. Blood regeneration, a species skill originating from the demon race. This unique skill, typically exclusive to demons, allows you to regenerate health by absorbing the blood of fallen enemies. You are the first human to possess this skill. You can't use the skill due to your lack of nether energy core. Ethan read the description carefully, understanding the gravity of the skill he had obtained. The ability to absorb blood for regeneration was a technique usually reserved for demons, a practice that was considered taboo for humans. He can't even use this ability due lack of something called nether energy. What's a nether core? Is it some kind of energy source from the demons? Arya, noticing Ethan's intense focus, gently inquired. Ethan, is this how you always say goodbye to your enemies? Ethan chuckled. Oh, what a pleasant misunderstanding. You can think of it that way. I see. You're really kind, she said, her gaze affectionate as she smiled at him. Ethan felt a rush of embarrassment at her compliment. However, their moment of respite was interrupted by a deafening roar that drew their attention to the center of the auction hall. There, high-level hunters were locked in fierce combat against classic and elder demons. The once pristine auction hall had become a scene of utter devastation. The ground was shattered, walls had collapsed, and the bodies of both demons and humans lay strewn across the debris. It was a hellish tableau of destruction. Ha ha ha. Do you think you two can challenge me? The Devil Ape clan leader's voice echoed with contempt. How laughable. You haven't even reached S rank, yet you dare confront an S rank like me? Allow me to show you the true power of an S rank. As he spoke, Gideon, the Devil Ape clan leader, transformed into a colossal 50-meter-tall devil ape. His form was engulfed in dark energy, radiating an aura so deadly that it seemed capable of extinguishing life with a mere touch. Miral Nortel and Alja Silvermoon, facing this formidable opponent, exchanged concerned glances. Gideon was an S-rank powerhouse, a rare and elite figure even in the city of Arcadia where S-rank hunters were the pinnacle of strength. Only 2 people had achieved this rank within the city till now. With a deafening roar, Gideon launched himself forward with incredible speed. Miral and Alja, recognizing the peril, quickly took defensive positions. Miral transformed into a 20-meter-tall winged tiger, his form both majestic and fierce. Alja Silvermoon melded with the shadows, preparing to strike decisively. The winged tiger and the devil ape collided in midair with a thunderous impact. Boom! The collision generated a massive shockwave that obliterated everything in its vicinity. The force of the impact sent debris and dust soaring, turning everything caught in the blast radius to ruin. Fortunately, Ethan and Arya were outside the immediate danger zone, though they watched in horror as the battle unfolded. The raw power of A-rank and S-rank powerhouses were astounding. Even the residual shockwave from their clash was powerful enough to cause harm from a distance. The aftermath of the collision was stark. The winged tiger was hurled back violently, blood pouring from his mouth. The gap in power between S-rank and A-rank was painfully evident. Yet, the devil ape was far from finished. With unrelenting determination, he charged forward, intent on securing victory and finishing the fight. As Gideon charged towards Miral, his enormous form propelling him forward with a terrifying velocity, Suddenly a shadowy figure darted past him with uncanny swiftness. The figure was almost too fast for the eye to follow, and with a precise and practiced motion, the blade connected. Slash! Gideon's head snapped to the side just in time and a deep gash appeared along his neck. The pain was immediate and searing, causing him to stagger slightly. With a guttural roar of agony and rage, he tried to shake off the impact, but the injury, though serious, didn't seem to faze him completely. His monstrous form was still very much alive and furious. The attack was from Arya's father using one of his assassination skills. "I will kill you all," Gideon roared, his voice echoing through the auction hall like a death knell. His massive body began to shimmer with a dark, menacing energy. He stomped his foot onto the ground with such force that the entire hall trembled. "Ape's gravity domain, S," he rumbled, casting his S-rank skill. In an instant, the auction hall was enveloped in a crushing gravity field. The sheer force of the gravitational pressure bore down upon everyone present. The very air seemed to thicken, making it almost impossible to move. Arya's father, previously maintaining his shadow form, was forced into visibility by the oppressive force. Bang! His figure was slammed to the ground, his shadowy form dissipating under the immense pressure. "Father!" Arya cried out in desperation as she watched her father's injured body. Her voice was swallowed by the overpowering gravity that immobilized her as well. She wasn't even allowed to reach his side. Ethan struggled against the crushing weight, his breath coming in labored gasps as he lay sprawled on the floor. The power of an S-rank hunter was overwhelming, making him feel insignificantly small. "Is this the true power of an S-rank hunter?" he thought in horror. The difference in power was stark and terrifying, with Gideon's single stomp effectively rendering everyone powerless. "Ha ha ha! You miserable rats, know your place." Gideon's laughter was filled with malevolent glee. "You should just grovel beneath my feet and beg for a quick death." His mocking tone was laced with cruelty as he relished in their helplessness. He glanced down at the ancient key lying on the floor, a cruel smirk spreading across his face as he discovered it was a fake. With a contemptuous sneer, he crushed it under his enormous grip, the key splintering into pieces. "You dared to deceive me? I'll make sure you suffer for this." "Now, my minions, go forth and exterminate the humans," Gideon commanded, his voice booming with authority. The demons, seemingly unaffected by the gravity domain, surged forward with lethal intent. Their eyes glinted with a predatory hunger as they descended upon the immobilized humans. "Oh no! Are we going to die like this?" The cries of despair spread among the humans as they faced their imminent demise. "If only the City Lord were here, we might stand a chance." Their thoughts turned to the City Lord of the Firecrow clan, a powerful figure whose absence was conspicuous. "Ha ha! Die!" Gideon roared with sadistic pleasure, savoring the sight of their fear. His enjoyment of their terror was palpable, and he continued to gloat over their suffering. Suddenly, a calm, almost nonchalant voice cut through the chaos. "Oh, what's the hurry?" The voice, smooth and casual, seemed to mock the gravity of the situation. The speaker, a young man, moved with a serene grace, unaffected by the oppressive gravity. Gideon's instincts flared with an intense sense of danger, but his body was frozen, paralyzed by a deep-seated fear. Emerging from the chaos, the figure of the young man became clear. His approach was deliberate, each step resonating with an almost otherworldly calm. Seeing the figure of the young man, Gideon's instincts were screaming to tell him to run. However, his body was not moving somehow. Who is this young man? He trembled at the thought of any higher power involved in this game. Even the City Lord won't be able to scare him this much. Ethan and everyone else's attention was also drawn to the young man. As soon as the young man arrived, the demons halted their actions as if an invisible shackle binded them with strong force. Ethan found the young man familiar. His eyes widened, realizing who it was. It was Leon, the dude guy who just sat beside him. So his suspicions came true at last. As Leon stepped forward, his each step reverberated in everyone's ear in the deathly still atmosphere. His demeanor changed completely as he drew closer. His youthful appearance underwent a striking transformation. He became a distinguished adult, clad in a regal military uniform adorned with the Arkanese kingdom's royal insignia on his chest. The man exuded an aura of supreme dominance, his long icy blue hair cascading in elegant waves that framed a face of flawless perfection. His lean, muscular build suggested both formidable strength and agility, while his ocean blue eyes, serene as an ancient lake, held an intensity that could command legions. His skin, smooth as polished jade, accentuated his otherworldly beauty. Clad in a strikingly handsome military uniform that highlighted every sculpted muscle, he appeared less as a mortal and more as a god among men. His commanding presence was irresistible, captivating every woman who gazed upon him. Despite the perilous situation, his sheer allure was a blazing force that captured the delicate hearts of women, making them swoon and fill their eyes with stars. The dangerous circumstances only heightened his charm, enveloping them in a fervent embrace they couldn't escape. With a gentle touch of his flickering fingers, a wave of cooling sensation spread throughout the auction hall, making everyone's mind relaxed, and instantly freeing everyone from the ape's gravity domain. Gideon's eyes went saucers as he finally recognized who the man was. Gideon's eyes widened in disbelief as recognition dawned on him. General Leon. He stammered, his voice tinged with terror even in his formidable devil ape form. The mere presence of General Leon was enough to shake him to his core. A transcendental powerhouse. The other clan leaders, equally alarmed, struggled to fathom the presence of such a high-ranking figure in their midst. To them, he was more than just a leader. He was almost like a god, a being of immense power and authority. In his presence, they felt like mere mortals, his devoted followers in awe of his every move. The realization that General Leon, a transcendental, was present, added a new dimension to the unfolding events. Brother, did you really summon General Leon? I didn't know you have such influence. Arya's uncle marveled, his face reflecting awe and disbelief. So that's why you were so enigmatic about the help we would receive. I didn't realize you had such an powerful ally. Arya's father shook his head, his expression a blend of relief and astonishment. No, you fool. How could I ever have the audacity? I only sent a letter to the capital requesting assistance. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect him to come in person. It's truly a mystery. Arya's uncle, realizing the misunderstanding, felt a surge of embarrassment. Regardless, it's fortunate that General Leon is here. Yes, Arya's father agreed, a note of relief evident in his voice. Father, are you okay? Arya approached her father, her concern palpable. I'm fine, her father reassured her with a pained smile. His gaze then shifted to Ethan beside her, and a flicker of disapproval crossed his face. But in the presence of General Leon, he held his tongue, not daring to make the slightest mistake. Before they could continue their conversation, their attention was drawn back to the most anticipated confrontation unfolding before them. General Leon's presence had undeniably altered the course of the battle, and the tension in the auction hall reached a fever pitch as the final showdown was near. However, everyone could guess the result already. Looks like I have no other choice. As Gideon faced the overwhelming power of General Leon, he realized the gravity of his dire situation. Desperation drove him to a grim and ancient solution: absorbing the blood of the fallen using forbidden demon incantations. This act of dark magic from demons was his last-ditch effort to gain the strength he needed to confront Leon. Despite his initial reluctance, Gideon had long ago abandoned his moral compass in the pursuit of power. His ambition to rise above his peers had led him to make a pact with demons, a choice he had never truly wanted but felt forced into by his own limitations. He had been at a bottleneck in his quest for greater strength, having exhausted all potential to increase his level. The demons had offered him a shortcut to transcendence, but it came at the cost of betraying his own kind. Gideon, driven by his insatiable hunger for power, had agreed without hesitation. Now, facing the imminent threat from General Leon, he sought to demonize himself to bridge the gap between his current state and the power he desperately needed. General Leon, observing Gideon's futile attempt, shook his head in disappointment. You will never learn, mongrel. A traitor will always be a traitor, he remarked with a tone of finality. Gideon's lips curled into a sneer, his resolve unwavering. General Leon, power is all that matters to me. Nothing else. No one can stop me, he declared, his voice filled with defiance. As he spoke, his body began to expand, his form becoming more monstrous and intimidating. But before he could complete his transformation, General Leon interrupted with one single skill. Absolute Freeze, SS. General Leon activated his skill silently with icy determination. No! Gideon's defiant roar was abruptly silenced as his massive form was encased in a block of ice. The transformation was instantaneous and brutal. Gideon's cries of anger and betrayal echoed as he was frozen, his once fearsome presence now reduced to a mere ice statue. The massive devil ape, who had once been a symbol of terror, was now a silent testament to Leon's overwhelming power. With Gideon neutralized, General Leon turned his attention to the demons that had been wreaking havoc. His eyes, cold and unyielding, surveyed the chaos around him. He raised his hand to the sky, his next move precise and devastating. Icicle arrows, Leon commanded, raising his hand, and immediately hundreds of razor-sharp icicle shards materialized in the air. They descended with deadly accuracy, each one aimed at the demons. The icicles pierced through their forms, turning them into frozen statues at a molecular level. The destructive skill was executed with such efficiency that within moments, the demons were reduced to nothing more than shards of ice, their bodies shattered into dust. Not even their blood regenerative ability was able to save them. The auction hall fell into stunned silence. The magnitude of Leon's power was nothing short of awe-inspiring. He had decimated an entire army of demons while remaining in the same spot. The clan leaders, previously caught up in their own troubles, now approached General Leon with deep respect and gratitude. General Leon, thank you for your help, they said in unison, their voices full of awe and reverence. Without you, we would have been doomed. General Leon acknowledged their gratitude with a nod. Why didn't your city lord come to assist? Had he been here, I might not have had to intervene personally, he said with doubtful expression. The clan leaders shared uneasy looks, their uncertainty evident. City Lord Longus mentioned he had urgent matters to attend to elsewhere. One of them responded cautiously. At least, that's what he told us. Another chimed in, though their hesitation suggested lingering doubts. I see, Leon replied, his expression unreadable. General Leon, Arya's father spoke up, his voice filled with an ingratiating tone. If you are free, would you please like to come to our humble home for some rest? This sly fox. The other clan leaders looked on with a mix of envy and frustration. They whispered among themselves, grumbling about the overt flattery and regretting their own missed opportunity to extend an invitation first. General Leon considered the offer with a thoughtful expression before agreeing. Sure, I would be pleased to visit your establishment. Yes. The members of the Silver Moon clan were visibly relieved and excited, knowing that such a visit could significantly elevate their status. The prospect of receiving valuable treasures from one of Akanese's 3 great generals was also a tantalizing thought. Alger Silver Moon, eager to facilitate the visit, smiled and motioned towards the exit. After you, General. As Leon prepared to leave, his gaze fell upon Ethan, who was standing somewhat apart beside Arya. The general's eyes narrowed with interest. Wait. Can you take that boy along? Leon commanded, his voice firm as he pointed directly at Ethan. Alger Silvermoon's eyes followed Leon's gaze, his expression shifting from surprise to confusion. He saw Ethan, the same commoner boy from earlier, standing next to Arya. Alger's initial reaction was one of indignation. He wanted to separate them immediately. However, Leon's clear interest in Ethan caused him to pause. What could be so special about that boy? Alger Silvermoon wondered, his mind racing with questions. Why is General Leon interested in him? Suppressing his irritation, Alger called out, Arya, come here and bring that boy with you. We're going home. His tone was firm, leaving little room for argument. Arya, slightly perplexed, gently took Ethan's arm and guided him forward. Hey, Ethan. It looks like my father wants you to come along. Let's go, she said, her cheeks flushing slightly as she led him towards her father. She was unaware that her father's displeasure was all too evident by their close contacts. Ethan felt the warmth from Arya's strong yet smooth skin. This was the first time they held hand, although unconsciously. Ethan approached cautiously, his nerves on edge as he faced the powerful figures surrounding him. All of them radiated an aura that was hard to miss. As he looked at General Leon up close, He was surprised by the sheer handsomeness of the man before him. Even the term male god seemed inadequate to describe his striking presence. Any ordinary woman would start drooling if they looked at him from up close. By instinct he looked at Arya, who seemed to charmed as well, but not too much. The difference between Leon's imposing presence and the young man, dude guy, he had spoken with earlier was really striking. Before he could greet anyone, Arya's father spoke with an impatient tone. "Let's go." He did not even look Ethan in the eye, his demeanor cold and unwelcoming. Arya, sensing Ethan's discomfort, said, "Please ignore my father's rudeness. He has some prejudices against commoners, but he doesn't mean any harm." Ethan nodded understandingly. "I know." With that, the group departed, leaving the frozen statue of Gideon behind. The tale of the battle and General Leon's intervention quickly spread through the city, causing a wave of excitement and curiosity. The people buzzed with anticipation, eager to catch a glimpse of the legendary Ice Guardian and learn more about the dramatic events that had unfolded. With a mix of apprehension and curiosity, Ethan followed Arya's father, Arya, and the other clan members through the streets of Arcadia City. They were riding in a luxurious carriage drawn by two majestic lions, their powerful strides making the journey remarkably smooth. Inside the carriage, Ethan was seated beside Arya at the back, while her uncle and another unfamiliar member of the Silvermoon clan occupied the front. Arya's uncle, a man with a stern face and a hint of arrogance, glanced at Ethan with a smirk of irony. He had previously warned Ethan to keep his distance from Arya, but now found himself in the uncomfortable position of sharing a carriage with the very person he had cautioned against. "Uncle, why do you look so displeased?" Arya asked, her gaze shifting from her uncle to Ethan and back again. "It's nothing," her uncle replied with a dismissive shrug. He was clearly frustrated but couldn't voice his true feelings, especially with General Leon's presence looming large over the occasion. His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden realization of how ironic it was that Ethan was now so close, despite his earlier admonitions. As the carriage continued its journey, the passing landscape captured Ethan's attention. The view outside was a picturesque blend of rolling hills, majestic mountains, and sprawling fields. Arcadia City was unlike any modern city he had known. The ancient structures and natural beauty created an otherworldly charm, making it feel like a timeless realm. For a fleeting moment, Ethan was reminded of his own lack of a permanent home in this world, but he quickly brushed aside the thought. His focus was on the unfolding beautiful scenarios. When the carriage arrived at the Silvermoon mansion, Ethan was awestruck by its grandeur. The mansion, designed in an elegant European style, stood majestically beside a tranquil lake, surrounded by meticulously tended gardens and smaller structures likely housing servants and guards. The mansion's size was imposing. Ethan had to tilt his head to take in the entire view, with a large bell prominently displayed high above. A servant, a middle-aged maid with a curious glint in her eyes, led Ethan to a spacious guest room. The room was adorned with rich fabrics and luxurious furnishings, but Ethan's mind was preoccupied with the purpose of his visit. He wasn't entirely sure why General Leon had requested his presence, but given the general's stature and recent events, he felt obliged to comply. "Dear guest, this is your resting room," the maid said with a bow, opening the door to reveal the opulent accommodations. "Please make yourself comfortable. If you need anything, just call for me." "Thank you," Ethan replied, nodding as he stepped into the room. The room was lavishly decorated, with a large, comfortable bed that seemed to invite him to rest. Ethan wasted no time in settling down, quickly drifting off to sleep after a long and exhausting day. A few hours later, Ethan was stirred from his slumber by the maid's persistent calling. "Dear guest, please wake up. Master is calling for you." "Dear guest." Ethan yawned and rubbed his eyes, gradually coming back to consciousness. "Coming," he mumbled, pushing himself out of bed. His head felt heavy from sleep, and he felt the urgent need to freshen up. After dressing in his usual hunter attire, leather and furs suited for movement but somewhat plain for the occasion, Ethan stepped out of the room and inquired about the location of the bathing facilities. "There is a bathroom nearby." "Please follow me," the maid responded promptly, leading him down a series of corridors. Ethan followed her to a beautifully appointed bathing room. After a quick but refreshing bath, he emerged feeling revitalized, his black hair now slightly disheveled but giving him a rugged charm. Despite the improvement in his appearance, his attire still felt out of place in the opulent environment. His hunter's clothing, though practical, contrasted sharply with the noble setting. The maid, noticing Ethan's attire, hesitated before suggesting, "Perhaps you would like to change into something more suitable for the occasion. We have some fine clothing available." Ethan, feeling somewhat indifferent, shook his head. "I appreciate the offer, but I'll pass. I'm not too concerned with appearances right now." The maid, slightly exasperated but understanding, led Ethan to the grand hall where the clan members and General Leon were gathered. As the door creaked open, Ethan and the maid entered, drawing immediate attention from the assembled crowd. The hall was filled with nearly 100 young clan members standing in neat rows before a series of thrones. General Leon occupied the central throne, exuding an air of authority and grace. The elders and Arya's father were seated beside him, their thrones slightly set back to show respect for the guest of honor. The moment Ethan entered, the noise in the room died down, and all eyes were drawn to him. The sudden silence heightened the scrutiny from the assembled nobles. Ethan felt a wave of self-consciousness as the gaze of the powerful figures, including the legendary General Leon, settled on him. Arya's father, who was seated near General Leon, looked slightly impatient. "Hey boy, come here quick. At least don't be late at such occasion," he called out, his tone full of annoyance. Arya, sensing Ethan's discomfort, quickly added, "Please don't mind my father's demeanor. He can be a bit direct, but he means well." Ethan nodded, trying to mask his nervousness. As he approached, he felt the weight of the room's gaze even more acutely. General Leon's presence was imposing, a dimensional difference to the young man he had spoken to earlier. The irony of his situation was not lost on Ethan here. He was, a mere commoner, standing before some of the most powerful figures in Arcadia. As Ethan reached the front, General Leon's piercing ocean blue eyes met his. The general gave him a slight nod, acknowledging Ethan's presence with a hint of recognition. "Ethan, I appreciate you coming here," General Leon said in a calm, measured tone. "Please, join us." Ethan bowed slightly, trying to maintain his composure. "Thank you, General Leon. I'm honored to be here." It felt really strange to be polite to the young man he knew so soon. It was really ironic. The elders and other clan members watched in silence as Ethan took his place among the gathered nobles. The atmosphere was a mix of formality and curiosity. The clan members whispered among themselves, their eyes occasionally darting towards Ethan and then back to General Leon. As the gathering resumed its conversation, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling of being an outsider in this grand assembly. Yet, he knew he had to remain composed and respectful, especially in the presence of such distinguished individuals. With a final glance around the room, Ethan settled into the background, his thoughts racing about what might come next. The sense of awe and the weight of expectations were palpable, and he could only hope that his presence would not be a source of discomfort or trouble for anyone. The atmosphere in the grand hall was a mix of curiosity, disdain, and surprise as the younger generation of the Silver Moon clan took in the sight of Ethan, the unexpected guest among them. The room buzzed with hushed whispers and exchanged glances, as their reactions ranged from curiosity to outright disdain. "Hey, who is this commoner guy? What is he doing here?" a young man asked, his voice tinged with curiosity. "I don't know. He just appeared out of nowhere," another replied, their tone equally intrigued. "Wow, he's quite handsome though," a few girls murmured, their eyes wide with fascination. "Handsome? So what?" a scornful hunter interjected. "He's just a lowly commoner." His words were laced with jealousy and contempt. As the conversations continued, the young clan members watched with growing interest as Ethan approached Arya. "See, that idiot is directly going to hit on the clan leader's daughter. He's dead for sure," one of them muttered, expecting the worst. To their astonishment, Arya smiled warmly at Ethan, a stark contrast to their expectations. The sight of her smiling happily while interacting closely with Ethan left the onlookers speechless. "Drake, your sister is talking to that guy so closely. Do you know what their relationship is?" a tall boy asked, addressing Drake, who was visibly agitated by the scene. Drake, who was Arya's direct cousin and the only son of Astrid's silver moon, glared at the tall boy. "How would I know? And don't talk about relationships between them. It will never happen. I won't let it, nor will our uncles or grandparents. A puny commoner like him is just courting death," Drake said disdainfully. At nearly 16, Drake's deep-seated disdain for commoners was a result of societal influence and his own pampering by his parents. His arrogance was palpable, reflecting the high expectations placed on him as the heir apparent of the Silver Moon clan. "Silence!" An elder with a goatee stepped forward, commanding attention. His voice carried authority as he addressed the gathered youths. "Children, you are here today because General Leon, the Ice Guardian, will be assessing your talents and potential. This is a rare opportunity to earn something extraordinary. You should feel honored and grateful to General Leon for this chance." The elder's words were met with a wave of excitement and disbelief among the younger generation. The prospect of receiving a reward from the legendary general himself was thrilling. The air was charged with anticipation as they imagined the possibilities. "Wow, Drake, we're going to have the chance to receive a personal reward from General Leon." "But, Sai, I don't think I have the talent to receive it," one of the boys said, looking at Drake with a mix of hope and doubt. "At least you have the chance, Drake. You're the most talented among us after all." "If you can't get it, nobody can," the tall boy said confidently, trying to bolster Drake's spirits. Of course, Drake's pride swelled at the thought of impressing his idol, General Leon. The idea of receiving a personal gift from such a revered figure excited him, and he focused intently on the upcoming event, eager not to miss a single detail. Ethan, meanwhile, found himself intrigued by the unfolding scene. He was witnessing a legendary talent-gauging event to a plot device common in fantasy novels. His curiosity about how this would unfold kept him engaged. The goatee elder turned his attention to the younger generation. "Now, all of you, line up. We will call you one by one, and General Leon will judge your true potential." Noticing that Ethan had not joined the line, the elder frowned in irritation. "Hey, boy, get in line quickly," he ordered, his patience wearing thin. The elder had been informed that Ethan would also participate in the event, so he had no choice but to insist. However, Ethan remained unmoved, standing in place with a look of indifference. His refusal to join the line was met with growing annoyance from the elder, who was about to reprimand him further. Before he could continue, a soft voice interrupted the commotion. "Let him be," General Leon said with a calm smile. "You may proceed with the others." The general's unexpected intervention left the room in stunned silence. The elders exchanged puzzled glances, their minds racing with questions. Why is General Leon giving such preferential treatment to that commoner? They wondered. Is he perhaps one of the general's illegitimate children? Drake's irritation grew. Why does that commoner get to enjoy special treatment? Why not me? He thought, feeling a mix of indignation and confusion. Ethan, surprised by General Leon's unexpected interest, glanced at the general with curiosity. "Ah, spotlight again. What could this low-key character want from me exactly?" he pondered, baffled by the situation. As the younger generation resumed their anticipation for the talent assessment, Ethan's presence remained a topic of intrigue and speculation. The general's motives and Ethan's role in the unfolding events were yet to be fully understood. The goatee elder then began calling the younger generation one by one to stand before General Leon. "Keelan, step forward," the elder shouted, his eyes fixed on a boy standing nervously at the front of the line. Keelan, a slender boy with a mop of dark hair, hesitated for a moment before taking a deep breath and stepping forward. He glanced around nervously, his eyes darting from the elder to General Leon, who sat in a grand chair with an air of authority. General Leon's sharp eyes Keelan from head to toe and then shook his head in disappointment. The elder, understanding his meaning, shouted, "Step down." The boy left the place in disappointment. Next, the elder called out another name. "Lyria, step forward." A girl with fiery red hair and a determined expression stepped up. Unlike Keelan, Lyria exuded confidence. General Leon shook his head once more, still not finding what he was looking for. The minutes ticked by in a series of disappointing rejections, creating a tense atmosphere in the grand hall. The situation was becoming increasingly unfavorable. Is there no one talented enough to seize this precious opportunity? The elders sighed in disappointment, their hopes dwindling. Drake. The elder called out, his voice echoing through the hall as he summoned one of the few remaining individuals in line. Drake stepped forward confidently, an arrogant smirk on his face. His assured demeanor rekindled a glimmer of hope within the elders and his father. General Leon's ocean blue eyes scanned Drake's body with a hint of intrigue. He seemed somewhat satisfied, revealing a soft smile. "Come here, boy," General Leon instructed, motioning for Drake to step closer. Seeing this, several elders' faces lit up with blossoming smiles. Drake gazed at his idol with fascination. He aspired to become a powerful figure like General Leon, though their paths and thought processes were fundamentally different. "You have the potential to reach the top, but you need to work hard," General Leon said, handing him a strange, circular emblem etched with the kingdom's crest. "Here, take this." "Thank you, General," Drake exclaimed, receiving the emblem with gratitude. Although he didn't fully understand its significance, he knew it must be valuable. The elder's eyes glistened with excitement at the sight of the emblem being bestowed upon one of their own. Next, General Leon called out. After a while, it was Arya's turn. She also received an emblem alongside high praises. At 19, reaching level 40 was a rare feat, and she was undoubtedly talented and full of potential. Arya beamed with happiness as she accepted the gift, feeling honored to receive something personally from one of the three great protectors of their kingdom. She thanked him genuinely and left the place with a radiant smile. Finally, it was Ethan's turn. But to everyone's shock, General Leon personally called for him. "Ethan, step forward," General Leon said, his voice carrying a tone of interest. The hall fell into a stunned silence. All eyes were on Ethan as he approached General Leon, the atmosphere thick with anticipation and curiosity. Ethan felt uneasy. Why was he suddenly being put in the limelight? As he approached, he pondered General Leon's real motive. "Take this." Without any further words, General Leon tossed an emblem to him. Ethan caught it hurriedly, feeling the weight of the strange emblem in his hand. The other's eyes went wide with surprise. How could a commoner boy receive an emblem so easily? Speculation ran wild. Was he really General Leon's illegitimate child? Or was he simply too talented? Arya's father, however, had a thoughtful look. He knew General Leon had only one spouse, no children yet, so the idea of illegitimate children was nonsense. Does this mean the boy has something special within him? Is that why General Leon was impressed and gave him the chance that others would beg for? Their next conversation confirmed his suspicions as his ears perked up to listen. "Ethan, do you want to join our royal army?" General Leon asked him personally. "You will be directly under my care," he added, tempting him a little bit more. The proposal shocked everyone. A personal invitation from General Leon? How fortunate! If they were in Ethan's shoes, they would have agreed immediately. Joining the royal army meant honor, recognition, and fame. But for Ethan, the idea was impractical. He had barely made it to E rank after all his efforts. He couldn't just risk his life for nothing. Moreover, he valued his freedom above all else. So, he politely turned down the tempting offer. "I am sorry, General. I think I am not capable enough for that post yet. So I think I will have to refuse. But, don't worry, as the ideal subject of this kingdom, I will do my duty with all my heart," he said solemnly, not wanting to disappoint General Leon. "Oh." General Leon nodded in understanding. He had expected this kind of response as well. However, seeing such incredible talent, he couldn't resist the urge to recruit Ethan for the kingdom's benefit, especially with the upcoming Great Demon War at hand. "All right, then," General Leon sighed, feeling a tinge of disappointment. Seeing his disappointment, Ethan was about to return the emblem to General Leon with a gracious step. However, General Leon rejected this sternly. "Ethan, you don't need to return it. You can keep it for yourself. It has nothing to do with my offer to join the royal army. You will learn its usage a little later. Now, go back." Ethan nodded and stepped back, feeling the indistinct pressure from General Leon. As he returned, he noticed everyone's faces filled with shock and awe. They found it unfathomable how someone could reject such an offer from General Leon himself. Ethan shrugged and went to Arya's side, as she was the only familiar person there. "Great job, Ethan," Arya said with a smile. Arya seemed genuinely happy seeing Ethan getting recognition from the general himself, indicating a bright future awaiting him. Drake looked at them with a frown etched on his face, growing jealous and indignant knowing the commoner boy had received a personal invitation from the general, instead of him. "Humphrey, I will show you who is more talented," he muttered with hostility while glaring at Ethan. "Now, everyone disperse," the goatee elder said to all the youngsters who hadn't received the emblems. They all left in disappointment, leaving behind Drake, Arya, and Ethan amongst the elders and other respectable figures. Thereafter, General Leon stepped forward, his expression serious. "Now, I will tell you the usage of these emblems you received." He addressed the trio who received the emblems. Standing beside a commoner, Drake looked very pissed at this. However, the elders' orders were law here. No disrespect was allowed. Later, realizing the seriousness of the matter, he focused on General Leon's speech. General Leon continued, "You should feel lucky to receive this emblem, because it is a ticket to ancient land of treasures. We recently discovered the key to that place after nearly 500 years later of its disappearance. That's why we are a little secretive about the matter." Ethan's thoughts moved to the auction hall incident. Was he talking about the same ancient land of treasure? "You're not the only one who received these emblems. We have chose thousands more youngsters from across the whole kingdom. Exactly 1 month later from now on, the ancient land will open, and all of you will be granted entry inside it. So, be ready. You might have to face some challenges in there, but the rewards will be worth the risk," he added with a smile. He looked at Ethan and said, "Only the young generation can enter the place as there are some restrictions that forbid us from entering. Only people whose age is lower than 20 years can enter that place according to records we know. So, you might want to power up as much as possible." The trio's expression became serious hearing all these. They realized how rare the opportunity was. General Leon wasn't finished. He added more, "You must remember Hero Labros, right? He played a major role in the last demon war 500 years ago. He was from our kingdom originally, later settled in Hero Empire. He also went to that ancient land and received the Demon Slayer sword by luck, which helped him a lot in the fights with demons 5 centuries ago. It was hard to kill demons because of their blood regeneration ability, which made them nearly immortal. The only way to kill them was by burning their body to ashes, although the heroes could kill them due to their blessing easily. That's a different matter. Hero Labros wasn't a true hero actually, but just because of his Demon Slayer sword he was renowned as a hero. His Demon Slayer sword had the same ability as others heroes had. It can end demons' life completely. So, do you now realize how important this opportunity is, especially when we are on the verge of another demon war? So get prepared quickly," General Leon said gently. Ethan and others nodded in understanding the full story. At the same he realized this opportunity could be a game changer for him to grow up powerful. He felt grateful towards General Leon for the opportunity. The man had done a lot for him, even without asking. The elders and respectable figures couldn't be more agreed with General Leon's suggestion. Who knows, the next outstanding hero might be born in their clan after this. They couldn't help but feel excited at this thought. If that happens, they will not only be known in kingdom but also the whole Kairos Empire. Their prestige would rise through the roof. Arya led Ethan through the mansion's grand halls. The opulence of the place was fascinating. "This is our training facility," she said, gesturing to an expansive open field with a hard floor. "Each clan member hones their assassination skills here." The training area was immaculate, with a variety of equipment designed for both stealth and combat training. Ethan observed the intricate setups, each designed to test and refine the skills of the clan's members. The place radiated a sense of discipline and dedication, a presentation of the clan's rigorous standards. The tour continued, showcasing the mansion's beauty and sophistication. The architecture was a blend of grandeur and elegance, with ornate decorations and lush gardens. It was clear that the mansion was not just a residence but a symbol of the clan's status and influence. Despite the impressive surroundings, Ethan felt the sting of Drake Silvermoon's disdainful comment. The young noble's contempt was annoying as he sneered at Ethan. "Ska broken bar country bumpkin." Drake's voice was filled with condescension. Ethan, accustomed to worse past life, chose to ignore the insult. Engaging with the spoiled young master seemed pointless, especially when he had more pressing matters to focus on. Arya's face flushed with anger. She turned sharply toward Drake. "Drake, what is your problem? Why are you insulting Ethan again?" Drake's expression remained stubborn. "Why shouldn't I, Sister Arya? He's just a commoner. You should be careful with whom you associate. What will other nobles think of you?" Ethan could only chuckle inwardly at the absurdity. The concept of nobility seemed so alien to him. After all, weren't nobles once commoners themselves? It was a strange notion that status was inherent rather than earned. Drake's voice grew more scornful. "And don't think you're special just because General Leon praised you. It's probably a mistake on his part. You can't possibly compare to us." Arya's eyes blazed with fury. She stepped in front of Ethan, her posture radiating authority. "Drake, your broken bar, shut up. It's not your place to decide who I befriend or not. If you insult Ethan again, you'll face punishment from me." The tension filled the air as Arya's anger boiled over. Drake's usual arrogance seemed to falter for a moment under her fierce gaze. The silence that followed was heavy, and Ethan could sense the shift in the atmosphere. He hurriedly stepped in. "Let it go, Arya. Don't argue with a kid." Hearing this, Drake fumed more. "Hey, who are you calling a kid, peasant? Do you know who I am? You're just a low-level hunter, while I'm a D-rank assassin." "Who is the kid here, stupid?" he asked, fuming. Ethan began to feel a little embarrassed as the kid was right. He should have said his piece carefully. After all, he was 1 year older than Drake, still at level while Drake was a whole league above him. Appraisal: Name: Drake Silvermoon. Age: 17. Level: 26. Affiliation: Silvermoon Assassin Clan. The data was a little shocking, also as expected of Drake. He was whole 16 level higher than Ethan. Moreover, he might have hidden assassin skills with him. "If you have the guts, duel me one-on-one. I will show what your true worth is." "Come," Drake said arrogantly, stepping in the middle of the training field. His hand revealed mocking gestures. There were other members present as well. They noticed the commotion and gathered around. Ethan looked a little hesitant. Should he duel with him or not? "Don't fall for his provocation, Ethan. He is really powerful. Well, you just started your journey. You cannot compete with him right now. You still have time." "Don't worry," Arya said, consoling him. But how could he let Drake taunt him like this? "Ha ha. Scared?" "Don't worry, I won't kill you," Drake mocked, looking smug. At last, Ethan decided to teach him a lesson. Like this, he could also learn to fight a human. And their assassination skills intrigue him a little. Can he overcome their skills while using the evolved skills from his synthesis? He was not scared, rather he felt a little excited about the upcoming battle. "Fine. I accept your challenge," Ethan said, stepping forward with his sword in his hand. "Ethan, no, you shouldn't." Arya was about to stop him, but Ethan cut him off while shaking head. It was now matter of a pride. Ethan's confidence eased Arya a little. She revealed a soft smile tinged with worry. She prepared herself for any unfortunate accident to fall on Ethan. Ethan confidently went to middle stage, facing Drake opposite to him. The crowd gathered more, sensing an inevitable fight coming. They noticed Ethan was unfamiliar here and his eye-catching skeletal sword caught their attention. "Young man, if you're here for a friendly duel, no weapons allowed here." An instructor stepped forward in the middle. He recognized Drake and gave respective bow and faced Ethan with authority. "It is for your own good, youngster." "Sure." Ethan just smiled and returned the sword to Arya. Arya took the sword and looked at it with interest. "Where did he get this sword from?" "It's probably a D-grade sword or above." She didn't ask, considering he was about to face a difficult opponent. "Okay, get into your position." The instructor started to act as a middleman. Drake looked overflowed with confidence while Ethan was focused completely. He was facing an assassin after all. Ethan faced Drake with a determined expression. The air was charged with tension as the crowd of clan members watched closely. eager to see the outcome of this unexpected duel. "Ready?" The instructor's voice cut through the silence. Ethan nodded, his focus unwavering. Drake smirked, clearly confident in his abilities. "Begin." Drake moved first. To Ethan's surprise, Drake completely vanished from his view. Ethan seemed confused as looked around to find his trace. But it was futile. Exactly at that time, his passive skill, Predator's Instinct, kicked in, and dodged in the nick of time where a fist landed with metal gloves worn on. Phew! Ethan felt a cold sweat forming on his forehead. It was really a close call. If he had been a little late, his face would have been directly hit by Drake's fist. The metal gloves in his hand looked very sharp. "It will definitely leave scars if he gets hit by it." You dodged it? Drake looked surprised, not expecting him to dodge his signature move. He had used his inherent assassination skill, Shadow Void Step E, expecting to defeat Ethan with one swift move, but the other party dodged it somehow. It should have been impossible to do it, unless Ethan had a more counter-effective skill in his arsenal. Ethan looked at the instructor and said, "Instructor, you said no weapons are allowed." "Then, what about his metal gloves?" The instructor stared at him and answered coldly, "It is allowed." He said nothing else. No explanation. It was obvious, he was playing favorites. "At least, explain the rules at first, man." Ethan grumbled. He moved back his attention to the duel, where Drake looked a little more serious than before. "I never thought you could dodge that." "But no matter, I am just getting started," Drake said, gathering his confidence. "Okay, come at me," Ethan replied, interested to witness his skills more. While they were prepared to start their real battle, a beautiful woman in long violet dress appeared in the training field from the corridor. She leaned on the wall to watch the duel with interest. A few seconds later, Astrid Silvermoon, Arya's uncle, also appeared by the woman's side. "Dear, what are you watching?" he asked the woman in violet dress. "Our son." She smiled, her eyes charming. "See, he is dueling that commoner boy from earlier," she replied with a beautiful smile. "Oh." Arya's uncle's interest peaked and began watch the duel alongside his wife. "Who do you think will win?" the woman asked curiously. "My son, of course," Arya's uncle replied confidently. He was confident about Drake's victory. "It's our son, dear." "Not only yours," she revealed, proud smile. Arya's uncle gazed lovingly at his beautiful wife and said, "Yes." Ethan knew that he couldn't confront Drake face to face as his base stats were higher compared to him. So, he decided to strike fast before Drake could get the chance to attack once again. He activated Muscle Enhancement E, Enraged D, buffing his stats as much as possible. Then he cast Inferno Leap D, targeting where Drake stood. With a thunderous fire energy he landed on the ground. However, Drake disappeared in the air once again before his attack could even touch him. The hard stone ground remained intact, as if some kind of magical enchantment engraved on it. However, fiery ashes spread nearby, turning the spectators back away from the platform a little. That's a good destructive skill, all right. "Don't you think, dear?" Arya's aunt asked, impressed by strange skill Ethan displayed. "Yeah, that skill is a little strange indeed. I have never seen this kind of skill in our city. Where did this boy get it from?" "It's really a mystery." They were not worried about their son at all, because they knew he will be alright. They had confidence in their son's ability. "Ha ha." Drake emerged from the void, looking unharmed, a playful smirk on his face. He appeared right behind where Ethan was, to counterattack Ethan by surprise. As Drake was about to attack using his Shadow Strike skill targeting Ethan's weak points. If it hits, surely Ethan have to be bedridden for a while. However, once again his Predator's Instinct kicked in, saving him by a hair's breadth once again. It was acting as nemesis for Drake's Shadow Void skill. Moreover, Drake's Shadow Void Step skill was at low level, so it was rather easy for Ethan to detect them. Otherwise, Ethan would have been great danger. It was a very formidable skill of the Silvermoon clan after all. Again, Drake seemed to be angered by Ethan's defensive skill. "Fine, I will show you what true power is," he said fiercely while looking at Ethan with hate. Ethan prepared himself after hearing his threat. From his tone, Drake was going to fight Ethan head on now. So, He had to be extra careful. Ethan activated his buff once again, ready face what's coming ahead. Rock Giant's Fortification D, Assassin Fury, E. Drake activated a skill, and his body became tough as a hard rock. His body glistened with soft glow of power. Then, the second skill made him look more deadly, increasing his power significantly. At level 26, Drake should have 3 active skills, however his inherent skill, Shadow Void Step, added another, making it 4. From this, it could be said he was undeniably talented. His transformation was a little startling to Ethan. He found it hard to deal with. He wasn't sure if he could evade this time. He had only 2 skill to counterattack. 1, Inferno Leap, D. Another, Paralyzing Breath, E. He was unsure of Paralyzing Breath's effect on this enraged monster in front of him. Looks like it was finally time to create another D-rank skill, he thought, finding it the only option. He commanded to synthesis. Enrage D plus Muscle Enhancement T in his mind. Ding! Congratulations! Your skill synthesis was successful. Your skill evolved to Berserker's Might. D. Berserker's Might unleashes the user's latent power, drastically improving their strength and defense by 500% while in a frenzied state. Use 50 mana/second. Drawback: after usage, user will fall in a state of weakness for 15 minutes. Nice. Ethan found the skill very useful, leaving aside the small drawback. However, it could be critical in other times on the dungeon, but not this time. It was perfect skill what he need right now to fight head-on with a D-rank powerhouse. Seeing Drake charging at him like an unstoppable bull, Ethan hurriedly activated his newly evolved skill, Berserker's Might. His eyes turned red, feeling a primal rage from deep within, increasing his power by a notch. He felt almost invincible, even though it was just an illusion. His strength increased tremendously. Each of his steps caused the hard stone ground to crack a bit. Even the magical enchantment was beginning to lose its effect. Drake's eyes widened slightly as he sensed the surge of power emanating from Ethan. The other clan members watching from the sidelines murmured in astonishment, taken aback by the sudden display of raw strength. Ethan didn't wait for Drake to close the distance. He lunged forward with explosive speed, his fists glowing with power. With Berserker's Might enhancing his physical capabilities, he felt an almost supernatural force behind his movements. Drake, despite his rock-hard transformation, barely managed to block Ethan's first punch. The impact sent a shockwave through the training ground, causing a few spectators to stumble back. Ethan didn't let up. He followed with a rapid series of strikes, each one fueled by the primal rage coursing through him. Drake attempted to counter with a powerful swing of his own, but Ethan's heightened senses and reflexes allowed him to dodge and weave effortlessly. It was clear that the tables had turned, and the once confident noble was now on the defensive. Impressive, Drake's mother whispered to her husband, her eyes fixed on the intense battle. That commoner boy is more powerful than I thought. Arya's uncle nodded, equally surprised. Indeed, he's no ordinary opponent. Otherwise, why would General Leon choose him? Ethan pressed his advantage, using the full extent of Berserker's Might. He could feel the strain on his body, but the rush of power was intoxicating. He knew he had to end this quickly before the skill's effects wore off. Drake, recognizing the shift in power, stomped hard on the ground, spreading shockwaves nearby. The ground shook, and a wave of force radiated out from him, causing Ethan to stumble. Drake seized the opportunity, launching a counterattack with renewed vigor. He threw a punch with his rock-hardened spiky fist, landing a solid hit on Ethan's side. The impact was like being hit by a boulder, and Ethan felt the air rush out of his lungs. Ethan gritted his teeth, refusing to back down. He had one last move to play. Summoning the last reserves of his strength, he prepared to use his last card of collision. Inferno Leap. With a roar, Ethan leapt into the air, flames trailing behind him. He targeted Drake, who stood his ground, bracing for impact. The two collided with explosive force, the flames of Ethan's attack engulfing them both. The clash was booming, shaking the entire training ground. Spectators shielded their eyes from the blinding light and scorching heat. When the dust settled, both Ethan and Drake lay on the ground, battered and burned but not severely injured. Ethan struggled to move, his body aching all over because of weakness state. He had given everything he had in that final attack. He looked over at Drake, who was equally injured but still conscious, his rock-hard transformation cracking and crumbling away. Drake's father, Astrid Silver Moon, rushed forward, his face a mask of concern. He knelt beside his son, carefully lifting him. "Drake, are you all right?" he asked, his voice trembling with nervousness. Drake coughed, wincing in pain. "I'll be fine, father," he managed to say. "Just a little burned." Astrid looked up at Ethan, his expression hard to decipher. "You're a formidable opponent, Ethan." "My son has learned a valuable lesson today." He said nothing else. Ethan nodded weakly, barely able to keep his eyes open. The pain was overwhelming, and he felt his consciousness slipping. Arya ran to Ethan's side, her face pale with worry. "Ethan, stay with me," she cried, gently lifting his head. "You're going to be okay. Just hang on." With the help of other clan members, Arya carefully lifted Ethan, supporting his weight as they moved him to a more secure location. She could see the extent of his injuries and knew he needed immediate medical attention. As they left the training ground, Drake's mother approached her husband. "That boy is so strong. Are you sure Arya and the boy should not be together?" she asked softly. "Perhaps he would be the next transcendental of our kingdom." "I am not belittling my son, or anything. It's just, you see that boy's level, barely 10. And he had such power and mysterious skills." Astrid nodded. "Yes, he has potential. But it's not for me to decide alone. Arya's father needs to decide for himself, then the elders." Arya led Ethan to the mansion's infirmary, where the clan's healers quickly began tending to his wounds. She stayed by his side, her heart aching at the sight of him in such pain. "You did it, Ethan," she whispered, holding his hand. "You proved yourself today." Ethan managed a weak smile, his eyes fluttering open. "Thanks, Arya," he said softly. "I managed somehow." Although he realized he had overdone it a little. The skill's drawback was taking a toll on his body, as if each cell had gone out of energy. The side effect of berserkers might kicked in, making him feebly weak. Arya squeezed his hand gently. "Rest now. You need to recover before you could anything else." As Ethan drifted into a much-needed sleep, Arya sat beside him, her thoughts racing. Meanwhile, back in the training ground, Drake was being carried away by his father. The pain of his injuries was a stark reminder of his defeat, but it also fueled his resolve. He would train harder, become stronger. He would not be bested again. At the same time he felt a little admiration growing for the commoner boy who defeated him. "Ethan, was it?" "We will meet again soon," Drake murmured, looking back at the training ground. Although the winner was not clear, it was a defeat to him as he was in advantage from the start. As the clan members dispersed, the echoes of the fierce battle lingered in the air. It was a day that none of them would soon forget. The result of the battle spread throughout the clan mansion, leaving everyone awestruck. They couldn't believe that one of their genius had been defeated by a commoner brat. On top of that, he was just at level 10. Ethan spent the night in the Silver Moon clan's mansion under Arya's care. His injury was minor, so it healed completely after the night's rest. Later that night, in a small room filled with the fragrant scent of burning incense, Arya's father sat thoughtfully in an armchair. His brother, Arya's uncle, was also present, looking equally contemplative. "Brother, how should we deal with that boy from now on?" Arya's uncle asked. "Should we still continue with our plan to separate them by force?" Arya's father shook his head lightly. "No, I don't think so. That boy seems to have a lot of potential, and his background is also mysterious. It's as if he appeared in the city out of nowhere. Still, we could have separated them as planned if only the general hadn't intervened. Now, we can't even touch him. Moreover, I think General Leon must have purposefully revealed his talent to us, indirectly hinting that we should help him reach the capital. That's his way of telling us to take care of him." "I see," Arya's uncle said, understanding the deeper meaning of General Leon's actions. "Then, what about the marriage proposal by the aristocratic clan in the capital?" "That marriage is not fixed yet. We have some time to think it over. Moreover, we have a ticket to the ancient treasure land now. It won't be long before we become another aristocratic clan in the capital. Ha ha ha. So, there's no need to worry about it now." The next morning, The Silver Moon Mansion was abuzz with activity. General Leon, the figure of imposing stature and commanding presence, prepared to depart. His azure blue wyvern, a magnificent creature with gleaming scales and powerful wings, awaited him in the courtyard. Ethan, along with other clan members, gathered to see the general off. The sight of the wyvern was awe-inspiring, its presence a symbol of the general's might and prestige. As General Leon mounted the majestic beast, he glanced down at Ethan, Arya, and Drake, giving them a nod of approval. "Remember, you three," General Leon's voice boomed, "the path ahead is fraught with challenges, but I have faith in your abilities. Make your way to the capital and fulfill your potential." "And Ethan, make sure to send my money back via parcel," the general said with a soft smile at the end. Ethan smiled wryly. "All right, General, we will do as you say." Arya and Drake nodded respectfully. "We won't let you down," they said in unison. With a powerful flap of its wings, the wyvern took to the sky, soaring high above the mansion. The general's departure left a sense of determination in Ethan's heart, reinforcing his resolve to grow stronger and pursue his goals. He wanted to become as powerful as General Leon and go on long, unfettered adventures. Until then, he had to work hard. Later that day, after saying his goodbyes to Arya and the other clan members, Ethan prepared to leave the Silver Moon Mansion. Although most of the clan members were not that enthusiastic, Arya walked him to the entrance, her expression a mix of concern and encouragement. "Take care, Ethan," she said softly. "Remember, you're always welcome here." Ethan smiled. "Thank you, Arya. I'll be back, stronger than ever." He waved and went inside a carriage. "I know you would," Arya muttered as she saw Ethan's departing figure in a horse carriage. Her eyes were charming, feeling strong emotions inside. Ethan made his way back to the inn where he had first stayed upon arriving in the city. Fortunately, he was given a ride by a horse carriage provided by the clan. The streets were bustling with activity, and the market specialized in hunters' needs was as busy as ever. His mind was already racing with plans on how to earn enough money to buy the mana orbs and skills he needed to increase his strength. He needed a proper channel to sell all the synthesized items so that he wouldn't get recognized. Only then could he do things more boldly. With over 8,000 mana points, he could do a lot of things to earn more coins. While thinking, he returned to the inn where Emily, the little girl, was sitting at the reception desk, acting like a proper adult. Poverty makes children mature faster, and she was living proof of that. Arriving at the desk, Ethan revealed a soft smile. "Hey, Emily, how have you been?" Emily's attention was elsewhere, but she raised her small head and smiled brightly upon seeing Ethan in front of her. "Big brother, you're finally here. We were really worried about you. Are you all right?" Her petite figure was tinged with concern. "I'm fine." "Where's your mother?" "Mama is here. She'll be here in any moment." "You wait here, I'm going to get her." Before Ethan could object, she ran off hurriedly, her ponytail swaying left and right. "This girl." Ethan shook his head. After a while, innkeeper Greta arrived, her aged face relaxing upon seeing Ethan safe. As the only adult in her family, she had a lot of work to do. Despite that, she took care of Ethan personally. Her husband had been a hunter and died on a deadly mission, unfortunately. Since then, she had taken care of the family. Raising Emily and managing the inn was her only focus. As a result, her face has become wrinkled, despite being only 32. "Ethan, thank God you're fine." "I was really worried," innkeeper Greta said worriedly. "Were you somehow present during the incident at the auction hall?" "I looked everywhere but couldn't find you at all." Ethan nodded. "Yes, Aunt. I was also present there, unfortunately. But I'm fine now." Innkeeper Greta looked relieved. "That's good, that's good. I heard a lot of unfortunate souls died there at the hands of demons. Fortunately, you survived." Ethan sighed and replied, "Yes, thanks to General Leon." Emily's ears perked up. "Big brother, did you see General Leon with your own eyes? Did you watch him fight? Was he as handsome as the rumors say?" Emily asked questions non-stop. Ethan chuckled at her enthusiasm and answered, "Yes, I saw him in person. I even talked to him in person. He is indeed very handsome." Emily's eyes gleamed with envy. "Ah, I want to see him too. I have grown up listening to his legendary feats. Mom used to read me the book The Ice Guardian every night. But now the story has become very old. Innkeeper Greta smiled warmly, recalling old memories. Is that so? Don't worry, Emily. One day I will take you to meet him for sure. That's my promise, Ethan said, patting her head. Emily smiled happily. Really? Oh, thank you, big brother. You're the best, she said excitedly. Ethan smiled and took some coins from his pouch. Here, Aunt, take this. It's the money for staying here and other accommodations. But Aunt Greta shook her head and said, Ethan, there's no need for that. You're like my own son. How can I charge you for staying at your house? You can stay here as much as you like. You don't need to pay anything. You should use it to buy some good skills for yourself, Ethan insisted. No, Aunt, that's a different matter. Business is business. Here, take it. Otherwise, I will have to throw it away outside. He remained firm. No, Ethan, don't. At last, she had no choice but to accept it. She looked and found nearly 100 silver coins inside. She was astonished and tried to return them to him once again, but Ethan forced her to accept them. Aunt, I'm an E-rank hunter now. This amount of money is nothing to me. An E-rank hunter? Big brother, are you already an E-rank hunter now? Congratulations, Emily said, smiling brightly. And I still have 2 years to awaken myself. Thanks, Emily. I know you will also be a good hunter one day. I will help you become #1 in the city. Really? Thanks, big brother. She beamed, hoping for a better future. She also yearned to go outside the city walls and venture out. Innkeeper Greta's expression was a little difficult as she thought about her daughter's future. On one hand, she was worried if her daughter would meet an unexpected accident like her father one day. On the other hand, she didn't want to crush her daughter's dream either. It was a hard choice to make. She sighed and, as if remembering something important, scoured the reception desk and took out an envelope from there. She handed it to Ethan and said, Ethan, yesterday someone dropped this at our doorstep in the morning. I don't know who delivered it here, but it has your name written on it, so I kept it safe for you. Arriving in his room, Ethan stared at the envelope with intrigue. Who could have sent this to me? He didn't recall anyone fitting this description in this world. The envelope was still intact, meaning no one else had seen it. Most likely, it was a letter. He opened the envelope and found a letter inside. Sitting comfortably on the bed, he began to read it carefully. There were only a few sentences, not difficult to read. The language was strange, but he could understand it clearly, most likely due to his perks as a reincarnator. The content of the letter was as follows. Dear Mr. Ethan, I am glad to inform you that I have discovered your secret of selling all those sentient swords and buying mana orbs in large quantities. It was very astonishing to me that you're the owner of those D-grade sentient swords because I learned that you're just an E-rank hunter. So, if you don't want your secret to be leaked, meet me at the Eldritch Chamber of Commerce. But, you don't need to fear Mr. Ethan. Instead, I have a deal that you would very much like to hear. I hope you'll meet me soon enough. Froma, your well-wisher. Ethan was tense at first, but at the later part he couldn't help but find it amusing. It was a really polite threat. Feeling intrigued, he decided to visit the place to see what awaited him. Setting this aside, Ethan took out his skeletal dragon sword from the scabbard at his waist, and another sword called Holy Elemental Sword, which was given to him by Arya. However, he didn't take it for free, because this sword's price was astronomical. A single sword cost 3,000 gold coins. It was just a D-grade sword, but infused with the holy fire element. That's what make it special. He had requested this sword from Arya just to kill demons if needed in the future, especially with the Great Demon War on the horizon. He needed to be ready. Coins, coins, it's all about coins, Ethan muttered to himself. Setting that aside, he began synthesize both swords to see if his sword could gain the ability to kill demons. If it failed, it would be a huge loss. Ding! Congratulations! Your materials synthesis was successful. Your sword has upgraded to Holy Dragonian Blade. See, the previous skeletal bone sword had transformed into a sharp blade that radiated purification energy of holy fire. It seemed as if it was made to purify all evils. The sword's toughness had increased significantly, alongside its sharpness. He cast Appraisal to see its properties. Appraisal. Name: Holy Dragonian Blade. Grade: C. Attack power: 105. Durability: 320. Special abilities: 1. Dragon's Wrath. Unleashes a powerful fire attack that engulfs enemies in an inferno, causing massive burn damage over time. 2. Holy Purge. Emits a burst of holy energy that purifies and damages undead and demonic entities, while healing the wielder slightly. 3. Holy Flame Aura. Surrounds the blade with the holy essence of fire elements, causing fear in nearby low-level undead and demonic creatures. Ethan was astonished to see such a large upgrade on his sword, especially on its special abilities. It had finally gained the ability to kill demons for good, relieving him a little. The other special abilities might also be useful later on. The next morning, Ethan headed to the Eldritch Chamber of Commerce by taking a ride on a small carriage. However, the problem was that it was situated in the Noble District, so he needed to pay a large sum of money and show his credentials as a hunter to enter first. Most commoners were not allowed there. As he approached the grand entrance of Noble District, he was stopped by a guard. "Halt! State your business," the guard demanded, eyeing him suspiciously. "I'm here to meet someone at the Eldritch Chamber of Commerce," Ethan replied, handing over his hunter credentials. The guard inspected the credentials carefully and took the entrance fee. "An E-rank hunter in the Noble District. You must have some important business." "You may pass, but any trouble and you'll be escorted out immediately." Ethan nodded and proceeded through the ornate gates, feeling the weight of the nobility's gaze on him. He navigated the bustling streets, lined with lavish shops and grand buildings, until he reached the imposing structure of the Eldritch Chamber of Commerce. Inside, he was greeted by a well-dressed receptionist. "Welcome to the Eldritch Chamber of Commerce. How can I assist you today?" she asked politely. "I'm here to see someone." "I have received a letter," Ethan explained, showing the letter to the receptionist. She glanced at the letter, her expression unreadable. "Ah, I see. Please follow me." Ethan followed her through a series of hallways until they reached a private meeting room. She opened the door and gestured for him to enter. Inside, a beautiful elf woman with an air of authority sat behind a large desk. She had long, pointy ears, emerald green eyes, a beautiful face as smooth as jade, and shoulder-length gray hair. Wearing a sapphire blue dress, she looked like the epitome of beauty. Although he knew that there were demi-humans in this world as well, he didn't expect to meet one of them so soon. Ethan was a little dazed, but he quickly recovered with a cough. The elf woman looked up as Ethan entered, a sly smile on her beautiful face. "Mr. Ethan, I presume." "Please, have a seat," the woman said, gesturing to a chair opposite her. Ethan sat down, his curiosity piqued. "So, you're the one who sent the letter?" "Indeed," the elf woman replied, leaning back in her chair. "Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ilana Valoria, a representative of the Eldritch Chamber of Commerce of Arcadia branch." "Oh, what is it that you want from me?" Ethan asked, getting straight to the point. "Straightforward, I like that," Ilana said, her smile charming. "I have a proposition for you, Mr. Ethan. Your secret is safe with me, but in exchange, I need your help with a certain endeavor." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "And what might that be?" Ilana leaned forward, revealing a peak of her snowy white bosom. Although she might have done it unconsciously, Ethan was charmed by the sight but pretended as if nothing had happened. He was definitely enjoying it a little. "I want you to sell all your special weapons here," she said, coming a little closer. Her flowery scent drifted under his nostrils. Ethan's raised his eyebrows. "Sell my weapons to you? That's your only condition?" "I have no problem doing that, but can you tell me how you found me?" Ethan was really curious about who had caught him. He acted so secretly, yet someone had seen it. It intrigued him a little. Ilana smiled brightly upon hearing his answer. Then, considering Ethan's curiosity, she pondered a little before calling out to an inconspicuous corner of the room, "Kai, come out." From the shadows emerged a small boy, no older than 12, with nimble fingers and sharp eyes. He had an air of confidence despite his young age and wore clothes that allowed him to blend seamlessly into the background. "This is Kai," Ilana introduced. He has a thief class with exceptional skills. He noticed you during one of your transactions and brought it to my attention. Thief class? Ethan pondered. He heard about classes, but unfortunately he had none. He had no idea how to achieve it either. He should have asked Arya earlier. She and her family must have assassin class with them. Kai bowed slightly. It wasn't easy following you, Mr. Ethan. You're very careful. But I have a knack for these things. Ethan looked at the boy, impressed. You followed me without me noticing? That's quite impressing. Kai grinned. I aim to please my mistress. He bowed lightly Ilana respectfully at Ilana. Ilana continued, Kai's skills are invaluable to us, and he will be working closely with you to ensure smooth operations. Together, we can create a profitable partnership. What do you say? Ethan considered the proposal. It was risky, but the potential rewards were significant. And having someone as skilled as Kai could be an asset too. One last question. Why do you need my help? Your shop already looks so well equipped. So what's the need of my help? Ethan asked, intrigued as it had been floating in his mind for a while now. Ethan, you don't understand the ramifications of your actions, do you? Ilana said with a twinge of mystery. As Ethan raised his eyebrows, not fully understanding its meaning, Ilana explained, do you know how extraordinary it is to make sentient weapons? It is literally like breathing life into objects. Only a legendary class weaponsmith can do what you did. The real value is in you, not the swords. Although at low-grade weapons, it was not so apparent how a sentient weapon functions, but once you upgrade them to B-grade or above, you will see the real miracle. The weapons become living objects in reality. They can talk to the user like a partner as well as be equipped with special abilities, making them extremely formidable and rare to find. I don't know how you are able to achieve so much success in creating sentient objects, and I don't want to know either. Maybe you have a good master teaching you with your legendary class, or whatever. But I need your help to complete my goal and achieve my freedom, Ilana said honestly. Ethan nodded, understanding the gist of it. This universal synthesis skill had more potential than he thought. He had yet to discover more of its proper usage. Ilana mistook him as someone with a legendary weapon crafter class, guided by a reclusive master, saving him the trouble of revealing his secrets. Honestly, he thought they could go on with the partnership. Actually, he became curious about her identity, to be assured father. So, he used appraisal on her, and it was successful. That basically meant she was less than level 50. Appraisal. Name, Ilana Valoria. Age, 21. Level, 41. Affiliation, Eldritch Chamber of Commerce, Princess of the Valoria Kingdom. Whoa. An actual princess from an elf kingdom? Amazing. Ethan exclaimed inwardly. Probably, she was from another empire altogether. Most likely, the demi-human empire, as there were no elf kingdoms in the Kairos Empire. He got more interested in knowing her goal, so he asked, and what is your goal actually, if you don't mind me asking? Ilana smiled as she said, yeah, sure. I find no problem sharing my goals with you. You're going to be my partner, after all, she continued, her voice calm. Actually, I am not from this empire, which you might have guessed from my appearance already. My goal is to earn 10 million gold coins of profit in just 3 years. I know you might find it unbelievable to earn this much profit in such a short time, but I have already earned 5 million gold coins in just 2 years. There are only 1 year left before my deadline come. I need to earn another 5 million gold coins within this time. That's why I am seeking more business partnerships. I am the real owner of this Eldritch Chamber of Commerce. This is just one of many branches of my Chamber of Commerce in this empire. She got up from her seat and explained, we deal on various products, such as weapons, armors, skill books, potions, monster carcasses and the monster materials. She made various hand motions as she explained all this to Ethan. Ethan looked amazed at her professionalism. Her charm was off the roof. She looked at Ethan and continued, I came here for a routine inspection and heard about your exploits, so I invited you here. I can't reveal my personal circumstances, but I think we can have good cooperation in doing business. I can even supply your weapons throughout all other kingdoms in this empire, so you don't have to worry about revealing your identity if you want to stay anonymous as you're trying to be. With our cooperation, It could be really possible. I have 1 year left to earn 5 million gold coins, but with your help, I am hoping to progress much faster. So, what do you think? She asked, looking directly into his eyes. I see. Ethan nodded and said, sure, I have no problem with that. But can you tell me my profit ratio? He asked to make everything clear from the start. Ilana smiled, revealing her pearly white teeth after seeing Etta agree to her proposal. About that, we would be providing you with all the materials for your crafting needs, so your profit would be 70% and ours 30%. We will handle all the shipping and delivery, so you can understand. Ethan found the stake of 70% not that bad. Previously, those greedy shop owners took nearly 100% in profit while making a fool out of Ethan. In comparison, Ilana's 30% seemed perfect to him. Moreover, she would be providing all the materials for his needs, which would be very convenient for him. But the elf woman surely knows how to do her business. If she bought the materials at a lower cost, she would be earning a significant sum from there as well. Ethan could do nothing about it. Ethan added urgently, one more thing, can you pay my money in exchange of mana orbs? I want every piece that you would be able to provide. Mana orbs were really less in Arcadia City, most likely the nobles get them right off the bat after they are revealed. So, he asked her if she could provide them, considering she had connections to other big cities and kingdoms. Ilana pondered and answered, deal. Although mana orbs are rare, we can provide you some as a payment. But, I would need to gather them from other locations, so it might take some time. Don't worry, I will personally send letters to gather them. It should be no problem. Ethan smiled and said, all right then, we have a deal. Afterwards, they signed a formal contract with the Kairos Empire's official insignia on it. If any party breaks the contract, they will be dealt with imperial judiciary. Ilana smiled and looked at the contract. May we have a pleasant cooperation, Mr. Ethan. Ilana extended her jade-like hand for a handshake. Happy cooperation. Ethan shook her hand, feeling it warm to the touch. He quickly let go out of politeness. But Ilana looked as if she lost her soul for a moment as soon as he touched her hand. It was as if a bolt of electricity jolted throughout her body, leaving her numb. Miss Ilana, are you all right? Ethan asked, noticing her statue-like posture. Suddenly, Kai stepped out from the shadows and said, Mistress is fine, Mr. Ethan, you don't need to worry. She needs some medication and then she will be all right. You should be on your way, Mr. Ethan. It's getting dark, as you can see. Oh, okay. Ethan nodded and left the building, feeling a little puzzled. Once Ethan had left, Kai rushed to Ilana's side, concern etched on his face. Princess, what happened? You looked like you saw a ghost. Did your premonition ability activated once again? Ilana, still recovering from the shock, took a deep breath. Yes, it is. Kai, what I saw was far more terrifying than any ghost. Kai's eyes widened. What did you see? Ilana closed her eyes, recalling the vision that had overwhelmed her the moment she touched Ethan's hand. I saw Ethan. In the future, his power had grown exponentially. He was wielding a weapon of immense strength, and the ground around him was littered with the bodies of demons. There were billions of them, all slain by his hand. His rage was terrifying, consuming everything in its path. Kai's jaw dropped. He slew billions of demons? That's impossible. Ilana shook her head. It seemed impossible, but it was real. My premonition can never be wrong. His power, his fury, they were beyond anything I've ever seen. If he ever loses control, the world could be in grave danger. Kai clenched his fists. We need to be careful. Then, make sure he never turns that power against us. Should we tell this to His Majesty? Ilana shook her head. No need. But, we must keep a close eye on him, to ensure that his anger is never directed at ourselves. He is not an enemy of the humans nor the demi-humans. His anger was directed solely to the demons. Moreover, whatever we do, the future is not going to change. Kai looked at her, determination in his eyes. Then, does that mean he is going to be one of those heroes of humanity, or something different else? I don't know. But I do know he had become much more to us than just a partner. So, we can't slip a word about this in the presence of others. Do you understand? Kai nodded solemnly, realizing Ethan was no ordinary man. Kai resolved to be extra cautious around Ethan from now on. He would have to ensure his Princess Ilana's safety at all cost. That's his sole mission. Whether Ethan was a friend or foe, only time will tell. Ethan arrived at the bustling city gate in the early afternoon, where the summer sun cast long shadows over the cobblestones. Today was the day he planned to join Lenora and her friends for a dungeon raid. He missed the previous one, but this time it won't happen. He spotted Lenora and her party, waiting near a large carriage. Lenora, with her fiery red hair and confident demeanor, was hard to miss. "Ethan, over here." Lenora waved, her voice carrying over the crowd. Ethan made his way through the throng of people and greeted the party. Lenora was accompanied by 4 others: Cedric, the leader of the party with a spear in his hand; Iris, the healer with a magical staff; Yona, the archer with a sturdy bow; and lastly Marcus, a warrior with a great sword slung over his back. All of them looked at Ethan with an expression of displeasure. They were reminded of the day where Ethan had missed on their previous dungeon raid. Marcus, the dark-skinned boy, was even more so. From the beginning he wasn't in favor of the idea of adding a stranger to their party. But Lenora's persistence pushed them along. And, just as he expected, the new member was a total disappointment to a guy without motivation and responsibility. He couldn't help but feel doubtful about Lenora's claims. What did Lenora see in this guy? Genius? Genius my ass. He scoffed. The other members also seemed displeased, recalling the frustration of waiting for hours due to a single person. In the end, they had to enter the dungeon 1 member short. The maximum number of members allowed in a dungeon party was 6. Being down a member made it difficult for them to grind effectively, adding to their frustration. Their previous party member had left to join another group, which was why they were now searching for a new member to fill the gap. Then, Lenora suggested Ethan, who was oddly persistent on adding Ethan to the party, so they have no but to add him. With a welcoming smile. That's the story so far. Ethan, sensing the tension in the room, decided to address it head-on. "Hello, everyone," he began, his voice steady but tinged with sincerity. "I know I messed up last time, and I'm really sorry for missing the raid. It was unprofessional, and I completely understand if you're upset. I promise it won't happen again." He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. "You all that know I was going through some tough times that day, but I'm here now to make it up to you," Ethan added, bowing slightly in a gesture of apology. He chose not to delve into the grim details of having killed someone and his subsequent imprisonment, but the weight of his words hinted at the gravity of his situation. Cedric looked at the others, gauging their reactions. Iris and Yona exchanged glances, their expressions softening a bit. Lenora gave a small nod, encouraging the others to follow suit. Marcus, however, remained grumpy, his arms crossed and his face set in a scowl. He was a little hot-headed. "All right, Ethan," Cedric said with a sigh. "Apology accepted. Let's just focus on the task ahead. We need to be at our best for this raid." Iris and Yona followed along, not finding any other choice. They would have to watch each other's back at the dungeon after all. Moreover, earlier Lenora had personally pleaded on his behalf to forgive him. They couldn't dwell on it forever, could they? Cedric and the others were all commoners, with Lenora being the sole noble in their group. Though she never shared her background, they were no fools. They easily deduced it from her refined appearance, behavior, and commanding presence. Moreover, she had extremely formidable fire-related skills, or bloodline skills to be exact. From all this, they guessed she must be from a noble background or something. But they didn't mind as their apprehension faded over time, growing as close friends. Lenora neither mentioned anything about her clan, nor about her father's identity. If she did so, she knew her friends would be distancing away from herself. She knew it very well, as it happened with herself many times in the past. Lenora loves to make new friends, not just nobles, but also with everyone. The thrill of adventure and hunting while mingling with her friends was very enjoyable to her. Ethan let out a relieved breath. "Thank you. I hope not let you guys down." "All right, everyone. Let's board on the carriage, we are getting late already," Cedric said, playing his role as the leader. As they boarded the carriage, the mood was still somewhat tense. The 6 of them sat opposite of each other, 3 girls 3 boys. The carriage jolted as it set off, the metallic wheels creaking under the weight of its passengers. The carriage was rented to just drop them off. The driver operated the vehicle from the front. The journey to the rock giant's cave would take a few hours, giving them time to discuss their roles and strategies. Cedric, always the leader, took charge of the conversation. "All right, everyone, let's go over our roles again. Iris, you're on healing duty as usual. Yona, cover us from a distance with your arrows. Marcus will be a tank and Lenora and I will assist him taking position left and right not to get surprise attack from the rock giants." He then turned to Ethan. "Ethan, what role do you want to take in this raid? You have sword in your possession. Does that mean you're going to be aggressive?" Ethan didn't hesitate. "Yes, I want to be on the front line, fighting alongside you and Marcus." Marcus's scowl deepened, his eyes narrowing at Ethan. "So, you think you can just barge in and take my position, huh?" he said, his voice dripping with hostility. Ethan shook his head at the misunderstanding, trying to diffuse the tension. "No, that's not it. I just think I can be most effective up front. I have some abilities that might come in handy against the rock giants." Marcus grunted, clearly unconvinced. "We'll see about that." Cedric intervened before things could escalate. "Marcus, calm down. Ethan's here to help, not to replace anyone. We'll need all the strength we can get in there." Marcus reluctantly nodded, though his expression didn't soften a bit. Ethan became curious about their party's strength, so used appraisal to find out their info. Appraisal. Name, Cedric. Age, 15. Level, 16. Affiliation, Arcadia Hunters Guild. Name, Iris. Age, 15. Level, 15. Affiliation, Arcadia Hunters Guild. Name, Yona. Age, 16. Level, 16. Affiliation, Arcadia Hunters Guild. Name, Marcus. Age, 16. Level, 18. Affiliation, Arcadia Hunters Guild. They were in the same age group with similar power levels. Lenora was also 15 years old with level 14 power. But that doesn't mean that they were kids. Their growth were equal to age 18 of Earth's people. Wait, does that mean Ethan was the oldest one among the group? Well, whatever. He shrugged in his mind. Then his attention fixed on their levels. Levels 14-18 weren't actually a little low. Is it that hard to level up? But Arya had reached level 40 at the age of 19. What about that? Is it simply because of talent and potential? Ethan asked himself in doubt. Only then he realized how serious the fact was. The carriage rolled on, the scenery outside changing from the bustling cityscape to the more serene countryside. Rolling hills and lush greenery stretched as far as the eye could see, the air growing fresher with each passing mile. Ethan tried to appreciate the natural beauty, but he couldn't shake the feeling of tension within the carriage. Lenora, sitting next to him, leaned in and whispered, "Don't mind Marcus. He's just protective of his role and a little hot-headed. Once he sees you in action, he'll surely come appreciate you more. Maybe you two could become good friends, who knows?" She chuckled. Ethan nodded, found her explanation reasonable. "Thanks, Lenora. I can only do my best." As the sun began to dip towards the horizon, casting a golden glow over the landscape, they finally approached their destination. The terrain became rocky and uneven, signaling they were close to the rock giant's cave. The carriage came to a halt, and everyone disembarked, stretching their legs and preparing their gears. The group took a moment to take in the surroundings. The cave entrance loomed ahead, a dark moor set into the rocky hillside. Around them, jagged rocks and boulders created a natural, imposing barrier. It was easy to see how the dungeon earned its name. There were a few party also present, readying their gear and stuff for dungeon dive. But it was not a problem as dungeon mechanism allows 10 separate channels to allow a lot people to join separately. It is controlled by itself. No one else can interfere. Cedric gathered the group. "All right, everyone, stay focused. We need to move fast as we are late already. The rock giants are tough, but if we work together, we can take them down. Let's move out." Ethan could feel the weight of Marcus's gaze on his back, a constant reminder of the warrior's distrust. He pushed the thought aside, focusing instead on the task ahead. This was a totally new dungeon with unfamiliar monsters all around. Fortunately, Cedric said some of the abilities the rock giants may possess. As they approached the cave, they were asked to show their credentials by two guards stationed at the entrance. They showed their hunter ID and paid the entrance fee for the raider 600 silver coins. 100 silver coins for each. They went inside, the air grew cooler, and the sound of their footsteps echoed off the stone walls. The party moved in formation, with Cedric and Marcus at the front, followed by Ethan, Lenora, Iris, and Yona bringing up the rear. The deeper they went, the darker it became, until they were forced to rely on the light from Iris's staff to see. Cedric motioned for them to halt. "All right, remember our strategy. We need to take these giants down quickly and efficiently. Aim for their weak spots in their joints and eyes. Don't let them get too close." The group nodded in agreement. Ethan tightened his grip on his sword, feeling a mix of excitement and anticipation. This was his first real battle with the party, and he was ready to show his worth. As they ventured further into the cave, the ground beneath them began to shake. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the cavern, growing louder with each passing second. The first rock giant appeared, its massive form emerging from the shadows. Its stone skin glistened in the dim light, and its eyes glowed with a menacing red hue. Cedric raised his spear. "They are here. Everyone, stick to the plan." Ethan cast appraisal to get some information about the rock giants. Appraisal. Stone Golem, Classic, Power Level, 10. On the first floor, the stone golems' levels were expected to be low. However, their formidable strength lay in their hardened bodies of stone, making them formidable opponents. Marcus charged forward first with a roar, his great sword swinging in a wide arc. He struck the giant's leg, causing it to stagger. Cedric followed up with a precise thrust to its knee joint, weakening it further. With a final swing from Marcus's great sword, the stone golem crumbled into rubble. Ethan and the others didn't need to intervene since it was a low-level monster. However, this was just the beginning. More stone golems began to appear one after another. One stone golem let out a bellow of rage, swinging its massive fists at the attackers. Yona's arrows flew from the back, striking its eyes and distracting it. Iris was ready with her staff to heal anyone who got injured. "Ethan, go get him. Let's see what you've got that Lenora approves of you so much," Cedric said, looking expectant. Lenora smiled confidently at Ethan, her eyes never failing her. There was definitely something within Ethan that made his potential so high. "Sure." Ethan smiled as he unsheathed his sword and charged forward with radiating confidence. The others remained impassive, eager to watch Ethan's fight. Marcus was the same. He also wanted to see what made Ethan so special to Lenora. Cedric, noticing Ethan's sword, asked Lenora beside him, "Lenora, what grade is Ethan's sword?" "Do you know?" "It looks very expensive and powerful." Iris and the others also got curious after hearing Cedric's inquiry. They noticed the sword radiating some kind of magical, holy aura. It was really intriguing. Lenora shook her head. "I don't know. I think you need to ask him yourself." Marcus was envious of the sight of the sword gleaming in the dim light. He also wanted a powerful greatsword for himself but couldn't afford one due to his financial conditions. "Must be some kind of scion of a wealthy family," Marcus commented as jealousy grew within him. Lenora denied his comment vehemently. He is not any scion of that sort. He probably has no family. He lives alone." The party members, except Marcus, began to feel sympathy for Ethan and became curious about his story. "Whoa, doesn't that mean he became this powerful all by himself?" "That's amazing," Cedric said, feeling impressed. "TSK," Marcus snorted, not believing Lenora's revelation. He was sure Ethan must have an impressive background. Otherwise, how could he get so much money to buy such high gear? While they were gossiping, Ethan hurried toward the stone golem, its eyes locked on him. The massive creature's eyes glowed with an ominous light as it prepared to attack. It charged at Ethan, causing the ground to shake with each thunderous step. Despite its size, its speed was impressive, making it a formidable opponent. Ethan remained calm, raising his C-grade sword with a steady hand. With a swift, horizontal swing, he unleashed powerful raw force against the golem. The blade sliced through the air with a whistle, demonstrating its exceptional craftsmanship and Ethan's precise control. Clang! The sound of metal colliding with rock echoed through the cavern as Ethan's sword struck the stone golem. The impact was tremendous, sending vibrations through the ground. The mighty creature, unable to withstand the force, crumbled into pieces, transforming into a pile of rubble. Unlike other creatures, the rock giant had no blood or organs, making its destruction appear almost clean. "Wow!" Iris and the others exclaimed, their eyes wide with amazement. They stepped forward, genuine excitement lighting up their faces, except for one. "Ethan, that was impressive. You managed to defeat it with a single strike." "I'm impressed," Cedric said, his voice filled with admiration. He was glad to have such a powerful ally. With Ethan on their side, they might finally clear this dungeon and increase their levels. "Yes, Ethan, good job." Lenora and the other two girls chimed in, their faces bright with admiration. Marcus, on the other hand, grew more jealous and resentful. Previously, the girls would flock to him whenever he finished a battle, but now they were leaning toward Ethan. He felt his spotlight being stolen, leaving him sulking in the shadows. "No, this can't happen much longer. He's just showing off his wealth and stealing all my limelight. I can't let that happen. I will prove to them that I am better than him," Marcus thought, his resolve growing stronger. He assumed Ethan had no other formidable abilities, only wealth. They cleared the first floor with ease, but despite their efforts, they didn't trigger any monster drops. With no choice, they headed to the second floor empty-handed. "Why is it getting so hard to get monster drops nowadays?" Iris grumbled, puffing her cheeks in frustration as they descended deeper into the dungeon. "It might be because we've been grinding this dungeon too many times. If we're lucky, we might find better drops on the higher floors," Cedric replied, his eyes darting around, alert for any signs of danger. Gulu. Gulu. At that moment, a horde of golems charged at them, their massive bodies causing the ground to tremble even more violently than before. Their eyes glowed menacingly as they approached in a tight formation. "Get ready. A big horde is coming," Cedric commanded, quickly assessing the situation. There were 7 or 8 stone golems in a tight formation, their menacing eyes fixed on the group. Without hesitation, Marcus surged forward, eager to prove himself. "Marcus, what are you doing?" "Stick to the plan," Cedric shouted. But Marcus ignored him, his mind focused solely on showing his worth. Holding his great sword with both hands, Marcus charged at a nearby stone golem. "Thunderstream strike!" he bellowed, activating one of his great sword skills. His blade crackled with electricity, becoming a weapon of pure destruction. The arcs of electricity illuminated the cavern, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Marcus's greatsword crackled with energy as he swung it down with all his might, aiming for the nearest golem's head. The blade connected with a deafening crash, sending shards of stone flying in all directions. However, to Marcus's surprise, the golem staggered but did not fall. "Ha!" Marcus exclaimed, taken aback. Even his powerful destruction skill wasn't enough to destroy a stone golem. It seemed these golems were tougher than the last he had confronted. What's going on? Why are they so tough all of a sudden? He felt frustrated, asking himself in doubt. Bang! Distracted, Marcus was assaulted by another stone golem from the side, sending him crashing back to his teammates with minor injuries. "Marcus, why did you charge forward alone? Can't you see they are in a horde?" Cedric seemed a little pissed, while Iris used a healing skill on Marcus. I thought I could defeat them alone, just like the previous raids. But, why are they so tough this time?" Marcus stuttered, confusion evident in his voice. Cedric rubbed his forehead in frustration at Marcus's rash action. "Marcus, don't forget we have Ethan with high gear, so it would obviously be a little tougher in terms of fairness." Cedric glanced at Ethan's C-grade sword as he spoke. Ethan contemplated the situation and quickly understood. The presence of his high-level gear made the dungeon monsters tougher. Ethan looked at his sword and said apologetically, "Sorry, guys. I didn't know you would be troubled because of me. Should I leave it outside?" He looked them in the eyes, genuinely concerned. Cedric and the others shook their heads. "No, Ethan. Although it becomes a little tougher, the advantages will be more apparent. We are hoping to get good results from it." Marcus might have forgotten about it, Cedric explained. Ethan nodded in understanding. This meant Ethan had to be more proactive with his sword, while the others would assist him. Everyone nodded in agreement, as if they had known beforehand. They had no problem with Ethan taking the frontline lead, except for Marcus, of course. Marcus seemed indignant, convinced that Ethan was the reason for his failure. He snorted and stood up, completely healed of the scratches. Ethan took the lead, with Cedric and Marcus beside him. Iris and Lenora positioned themselves in the middle, while Yona covered the rear for any possible ambushes. Ethan activated Inferno Leap, D, and charged forward, pointing his draconian blade downwards. With fiery destruction, Ethan landed, causing the Horde's formation to break. The impact sent flames and debris flying, disorienting the Gillums. Though surprised by Ethan's skill, Cedric quickly turned his attention to another stone Gillum and engaged it with his spear skills in close combat. Marcus, regaining his composure, refused to be bested by Ethan again. He increased the ferocity of his attacks, targeting another stone Gillum with renewed determination. Lenora used her inherent fire skill from her Fire Crow bloodline, her fiery attacks illuminating the cavern and adding to the chaos. Yona joined in, using her top-notch archery skills from the back, targeting the stone Gillum's weak points with precision. Dragon's Wrath. Ethan used one of his special abilities from the sword. In an instant, 2 incoming Gillums were engulfed in an inferno, melting under the excessive heat. He looked around for another target and noticed a large Gillum ambushing Marcus while everyone was distracted. Even Marcus was unaware of the impending danger. "Watch out!" Ethan shouted and activated Azula Sword Strike, lunging forward. Swish! The Gillum was cut in two, grumbling to the ground. Only then did Marcus realize Ethan had saved him from the ambush. He finished his target and glanced at Ethan with a mix of grudging respect and lingering resentment. Thanks. Marcus didn't forget to show his gratitude. It's not like he had a lifetime grudge against Ethan. He just wanted to prove himself better. Maybe his approach was wrong from the start. This thought just crossed his mind. Ethan smiled and said, "No problem. We're a team." He never took Marcus's offensive words to heart. With a renewed sense of camaraderie, the group focused on their battles, clearing the second floor with improved coordination. Even Marcus, despite his earlier resentment, fell in sync with the team, contributing effectively to their efforts. Unfortunately, they still didn't find any loot, but their experience points for leveling up increased slightly. This small victory kept their spirits high as they moved to the third floor. Upon entering the third floor, they encountered stone Gillums once again. This time, there were about 10-15 of them spread across the floor, blending in with the rocky terrain. The air felt heavier, and the cavern's ambient temperature seemed to drop, adding to the eerie atmosphere. Ethan took a moment to survey the scene, his eyes scanning the Gillums. "Cedric, are there only stone Gillums in this dungeon?" Ethan asked curiously as he prepared for another fight. "No," Cedric replied, adjusting his grip on his spear. "There are several types of rock giants in this dungeon, each with unique abilities. These stone Gillums are just the basic ones with no special abilities. It's going to get harder the further we progress. After the 5th floor, we'll encounter Earth Gillums. They have the ability to manipulate Earth in their designated domains, which we need to be careful of." As they conversed, the team fought with improved coordination, taking down the stone Gillums one by one. Each member knew their role, and they moved like a well-oiled machine, their attacks and defenses perfectly synchronized. "Watch out on the left!" Yona shouted, loosing an arrow that struck a Gillum's weak point, causing it to stumble. "Got it," Marcus replied, swinging his greatsword with renewed determination, shattering the weakened Gillum. "Fire Crow's Fury!" Lenora called out, her flames bursting forth and engulfing 2 Gillums, their rocky forms cracking under the intense heat. Ethan activated Inferno Leap, D, again, landing amidst a cluster of Gillums and disrupting their formation with a fiery explosion. His movements were precise and powerful, each swing of his sword leaving a trail of destruction. As they fought, the Gillums fell one by one until none were left standing. The ground was littered with rubble and the remnants of their foes, a testament to their hard-fought victory. To their relief, they finally triggered monster drops this time. Ethan's keen eyes spotted 3 active skill books on the ground, glowing faintly with a mystical light. "Look!" Cedric called out, picking up the glowing books. "We got some skill books." The group gathered around, their faces lighting up with excitement. Cedric took one of the books and examined it closely. "Whoa! These are all active skills, and there are 3 of them," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "Active skill books will definitely fetch a good price. Let's see what we've got." They carefully opened the books, revealing the skills contained within. The first book held a skill called Rock Shield, E, which allowed the user to summon a protective barrier of stone. The second book contained Earthquake Stomp, E, a powerful ground attack that could knock enemies off balance. The third book revealed Stone Grip, E, a skill that could immobilize opponents by encasing their feet in rock. "Does anyone want to equip one of these, or should we store them in our bag to sell them later on?" Cedric asked. They all looked at each other, but no one was eager to waste their precious skill slot by equipping these. Ethan was also not interested. The only useful skill he found among them was Earthquake Stomp. However, he already had a similar type of skill, Inferno Leap. If he was alone, he could have synthesized them and made them more useful. But he was not alone, and everyone had a share in it. Moreover, he was not interested in getting skill books anymore. He could just buy them from the market anytime. After the deal with Ilana, it should be very easy for him to get a good amount of money for his needs. Finding no one eager, Cedric put them in the cloth bag and headed deeper into the 4th floor. After some effort, they cleared the 4th floor and the 5th floor as well. Ding! "Congratulations! You have leveled up." "Congratulations! You have leveled up." As the last stone golem fell, Ethan received his level up notification once again. After clearing the first 5 floors and destroying nearly 100 golems, his rank increased by 2 levels. On the other hand, his party members also leveled up once. Ethan leveled up twice, most likely because of his contribution, or simply because of his talent. Both of them could be the reason. He distributed his stat points and took a glance at the system panel. Status: Name, Angus Tegro, Ethan Smith. Occupation: Hunter. Race: Human. Level: 12. Class: None. Age: 18. Strength: 30. Agility: 27. Defense: 25. Mana: 5. 958 070. Attribute points: 0. Skills: Active: Inferno Leap 3, D. Berserker's Might, D. Azula Sword Strike 2, E. Paralyzing Breath, E. Passive: Blaze Guard 2, E. Fire Serpent's Digestion, E. Predator's Instinct, EL. Special Skills: Monster Breeding, Level 1. Blood Regeneration Level 1. Unique Skills: Appraisal, Basic, Skill Absorption, Mythic, Universal Synthesis, Ultimate. Equipment: Holy Dragonian Blade, C. Let's take a break, everyone. "We need to eat and rest, and recover our mana before we continue deeper," Cedric said, seeing the exhaustion on their faces. Finally, Iris and Lenora exhaled a breath of relief, while Yona, though silent as always, looked relieved to have a chance to rest. Marcus was also tired and strained. He looked at Ethan and found him completely fine, as if he can go for a few rounds more. He found it astonishing. He saw with his very eyes that Ethan used active skills one after another, so why did he look so fine? How much mana reserve does Ethan have? He wondered. What he didn't know that Ethan had barely consumed near 2,000 mana points out his vast mana reserve of 8,070. If he knew, he might had to be bedridden for a while because of the shock. They found a relatively safe corner in the cavern and set up a temporary camp. Cedric started a small fire, and they prepared a simple meal. The warmth of the fire and the aroma of cooking food brought a sense of comfort and normalcy in the otherwise harsh environment. Ethan sat down, his back against the rocky wall, and closed his eyes for a moment. "Here, Ethan," Iris said, handing him a bowl of steaming stew. "You need to eat this and regain your strength." "Oh, thanks, Iris." Ethan opened his eyes and accepted the bowl of stew. As they ate, the conversation naturally drifted toward personal matters of family, relationships, and more. Cedric, Iris, and Marcus, all between the ages of 15-17, casually mentioned their romantic relationships. In this world, It wasn't unusual for young people to start forming bonds early, as their growth and maturity rates differed from those on Earth. On the other hand, Yona, Lenora, and Ethan remained single, a fact that didn't escape the group's notice. "Ethan, don't you have any girlfriend?" Iris asked suddenly, her question drawing the attention of the others. "Yeah, tell us about your girlfriend," Cedric added, his curiosity piqued. Ethan smiled slightly, shaking his head. "Nah, I don't have any girlfriend yet." "What? No girlfriend yet?" Cedric echoed, finding it hard to believe. "You're so talented and handsome, yet no girlfriend." "It doesn't add up." Ethan gave a wry smile. As the words left Cedric's mouth, a thought briefly crossed his mind. Aria's face. Her gentle nature and caring personality had left an impression on him, but he quickly pushed the thought aside, not wanting to dwell on it. "Forget about that," Marcus interjected, his curiosity shifting. "Do you have any class? I noticed you using 3 active skills. Does your 3rd skill come from your special class? How are you so powerful?" By this point, Marcus's previous grudge against Ethan had completely evaporated. The heat of battle had forged a bond between them, turning what was once animosity into mutual respect and camaraderie. Now, instead of viewing Ethan as a rival, Marcus was genuinely interested in his abilities. Ethan considered his response carefully. He couldn't reveal too much about his unique skills or the secrets behind his power, but he also didn't want to lie outright. "No, I don't have any class," he finally said. "I've got 4 natural active skill slots and a decent mana reserve." "What?" Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Marcus couldn't believe what he was hearing. He himself only had 2 active skill slots, while Ethan had double that amount. The realization hit him hard, and only then did he understand how foolish it was to compare himself with Ethan. Ethan was incredibly talented, a freak of nature. Marcus looked at him with a newfound awe and respect, though he felt conflicted about not being able to be Ethan's worthy rival. Well, at least, they were friends now. "Whoa, that's incredible, Ethan. You're going to be a powerhouse in no time," Cedric commented, giving Ethan a firm pat on the shoulder. "Just don't forget about us when you reach the top." Iris and Yona exchanged astonished glances, while Lenora seemed relieved, her earlier confidence in Ethan now fully justified. Ethan shook his head wryly. "A powerhouse? I've got a long way to go. Who knows what could happen between now and then." "So, do you guys have special classes? Do you know how to get one?" Ethan asked, his curiosity piqued. It was something that had been on his mind for a while. Hearing his question, they all shook their heads, indicating that none of them had a class. "We don't have classes, Ethan," Cedric replied. "But Lenora might have some bloodline skills." He glanced at Lenora for confirmation. Ethan looked at Lenora, waiting for her to confirm. Lenora nodded, a hint of pride in her expression. "There are 2 types of classes, Ethan," Lenora explained. "First, there's the inherent class. The nobilities and aristocrats are born with these. Then there's the attained class. These are granted by the system when you achieve something extraordinary, though they often come with specific conditions. Sometimes, it's a matter of luck, and other times, it's about courage." "I see," Ethan nodded, absorbing the information. The meal and their lively conversation lifted their spirits. They felt rejuvenated and set off deeper into the cave, remaining vigilant as they ventured toward the 5th floor. As they descended, the air grew colder, and the darkness around them thickened. Eventually, they reached the 5th floor, where the dim light revealed moss-covered walls, and yellowish vines. "Guys, stay alert for earth golems. They could emerge from the ground at any moment," Cedric cautioned, prompting everyone to scan the floor for any signs of an ambush. Ethan's senses were on high alert, his predator's instinct sharpening his awareness to a razor's edge. Suddenly, he felt a surge of danger, a tingling at the base of his skull that signaled an imminent threat. "Watch out!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the stillness like a knife. Clang! A massive earth golem burst from the ground, its attack colliding with the holy dragonian blade in a deafening clash. "Huala, Gulu!" The earth golem began to crumble under the overwhelming force, its guttural cries echoing as it fell apart. "Phew! That was a close one." "Good job, Ethan," Cedric said, relief evident in his voice. "More incoming!" Yona shouted, her bow already drawn and aimed at the advancing enemies. Ethan quickly used Appraisal, Earth Golem, Earth Elementalist, Power Level 13. Ethan and Marcus took the lead, running side by side, their breaths synchronized as they prepared to face the massive Earth Golems head-on. The ground beneath them trembled with each thunderous step of the Golems, and the oppressive atmosphere within the cavern seemed to weigh heavily on their shoulders. Despite the tension, both of them felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through their veins, sharpening their focus. As they closed in on the hulking forms of the Earth Golems, Ethan and Marcus activated their damage-dealing skills in unison. Ethan's blade crackled with fiery energy, blue flames licking along its edge as he activated his Azula Sword Strike skill onto his weapon. Beside him, Marcus's sword began to glow with a fierce, crackling electricity as he activated his own skill, Thunderstream Greatsword Strike. Together, they were a formidable force, each attack amplified by the power coursing through their bodies. The Earth Golems, towering nearly 5 meters tall, moved with a deliberate, menacing grace. Their massive arms, as thick as tree trunks, rose high into the air. With a low, rumbling sound, they summoned enormous boulders out of thin air, the rocky masses materializing with a flash of earthen magic. The boulders hovered for a moment, suspended in the air, before being hurled toward Ethan and Marcus with terrifying speed. The boulders flew toward them in quick succession, each one a potential death sentence. The first boulder whistled through the air, aimed directly at Ethan's chest. He sidestepped at the last possible second, the boulder grazing past him so closely that he felt the rush of wind against his face. The ground where he had been standing exploded in a shower of debris as the boulder impacted with devastating force. Marcus wasn't far behind in his reaction. The second boulder hurtled toward him, and he spun out of its path, the rocky missile missing him by mere inches. The boulder crashed into the cavern wall, sending chunks of stone flying in all directions. Marcus's eyes were wide with adrenaline, but his movements remained fluid, driven by instinct and training. The Earth Golems, undeterred by their misses, continued their relentless assault. Ethan and Marcus dodged each of them by hair's breadth. "Let's spread out," Ethan suggested, and Marcus nodded in agreement. The two charged forward, splitting up to cover more ground while Yona and Lenora provided ranged support to distract the Golems. "Fire Crow's fury," Lenora cried out, unleashing a volley of fire attacks, forming shapes of ferocious fire crows that erupted into cawing crows as they struck, searing the Golems' stony hides. "Arcane Seeker Arrow." Yona followed up, her arrow shimmering with magical energy as it homed in on the Golems' weak point, striking with pinpoint precision. Ethan leapt into air using Inferno Leap to disrupt their formation as usual. With the impact, the Earth Golems scattered but grew even more enraged. They charged furiously toward the nearest targets. One of them barreled toward Iris's position, but Cedric and Yona quickly intervened, diverting its attention to Cedric. With a determined glare, Cedric raised his spear and unleashed one of his powerful spear techniques, Flame Burst Explosion. The spear's tip struck the Golem, igniting with a destructive fiery essence that erupted upon impact, leaving the Earth Golem with a massive, smoldering hole in its chest. As they cleared the horde of Earth Golems, another horde appeared once again from underground. Once again, they began to destroy the Earth Golems who were using various Earth Elemental abilities such as Earth Wall, Earth Spike, Earth Swamp etc. However, with perfect teamwork, they cleared the 5th floor in fluid motion. They triggered a few monster drops and kept them inside their bags. Clearing this single floor took hours, a clear indication of how fierce the battle had been. After a short break, they prepared to venture deeper. With Ethan's abilities, they were committed to conquering the entire dungeon. His versatility combining offense, defense, and the ability to sense danger made him indispensable to the team. The others didn't mind. In fact, they were thrilled. The chance to level up and enhance their skills alongside him was a powerful motivator, pushing them to grow stronger together. Ethan secretly activated skill absorption multiple times during their encounters, targeting the Earth Golems and silently extracting their abilities. He was careful, ensuring that his actions went unnoticed by the rest of the party. The Earth Golem's skills intrigued him, and he knew they could give him a significant edge in future battles. The results were more fruitful than he anticipated. Each absorbed skill proved to be a powerful addition to his arsenal. Active skills: 1. Earth Spike. Ethan could now summon sharp spikes of earth from the ground, impaling enemies and creating a formidable barrier against oncoming attacks. 2. Earth Wall. With a simple motion, he could raise a solid wall of earth, offering protection or trapping enemies within a confined space. 3. Rock Boulder. Ethan gained the ability to conjure and hurl massive boulders, smashing through obstacles or enemies with devastating force. 4. Earth and Thorny Domain. This skill allowed him to transform the surrounding ground into a treacherous domain filled with jagged earth and thorns, making it nearly impossible for enemies to advance without suffering severe damage. Passive skills: 1. Earth Perception. This passive skill heightened Ethan's awareness of the earth around him, allowing him to detect vibrations and movements with remarkable accuracy. Ethan equipped all of these abilities, bringing his total to 8 active and 4 passive skills. Yet, despite his growing arsenal, he sensed that he was still far from reaching his true potential. Each skill he absorbed seamlessly engraved itself into his soul, without causing any strain or disruption, a testament to his unique talent. After taking a short rest to regain their strength, the group proceeded to the 6th floor. The atmosphere grew tense as they entered a vast chamber teeming with earth golems. The room was filled with the rumble of shifting stones and the ominous clatter of heavy footsteps. The earth golems, towering and seemingly impenetrable, gathered in swarms, ready to crush any intruders who dared to challenge them. Ethan could feel the earth beneath him vibrating with their presence, and he knew that another intense battle was about to begin. They continued their relentless grinding, always watching each other's backs and coordinating their attacks with precision. As time passed, they began to clear each floor one after another, with Ethan leading the charge thanks to his vast mana reserve. 6th floor cleared, 4 hours. 7th floor cleared, 6 hours. 8th floor cleared, 7 hours. 9th floor cleared, 9 hours. A day and a half had gone by since they first entered the dungeon. Now, they found themselves on the 10th floor, battling the final earth golem of this level. Thunderstream Strike. Marcus roared, his great sword crackling with electric energy as he swung it with all his might. The blade cleaved through the golem's stony exterior, the combined force of his strike and the party's efforts bringing the massive creature crashing to the ground, where it shattered into a pile of rubble. Breathing heavily, Marcus and the others stood amidst the aftermath, sweat dripping from their faces. The rocky terrain around them was littered with the broken body parts of countless earth golems, while deep scars and craters marred the ground, a clear indication to the ferocity of their battle. They were all utterly exhausted, their bodies and minds drained from the intense battles. Even Ethan, who usually held up well, was feeling the strain. His mana reserves had dwindled significantly, and the physical and mental fatigue was beginning to take its toll. However, the rewards had been well worth the effort. Ethan had gained numerous earth elemental skills, greatly diversifying his already impressive arsenal. Ethan quickly summoned the system panel, eager to make some adjustments and distribute his newly earned attribute points. The recent battles had pushed him to the next level, and he was now at level 13. Status: Name, Engustigro, Ethan Smith. Occupation, Hunter. Race, Human. Level, 13. Class, None. Age, 18. Attributes: Strength, 30. Agility, 27. Defense, 25. Mana, 3768,070. Attribute points, 5. Skills: Active, Inferno Leap -19. D. Berserker's Might -5, D. Azula Sword Strike -22, E. Paralyzing Breath -5, E. Earth Spike, E. Earth Wall, E. Earthquake Stomp, E. Rock Boulder, E. Earth and Thorny Domains, E. Mud Swamp, E. Earth Dive, E. Stone Bullets, E. Earthquake, E. Passive, Blaze Guard 5, E. Fire Serpent's Digestion 2, E. Predator's Instinct 6, E. Earth Perception 3, E. Special Skills: Monster Breeding, Level 1. Blood regeneration, level 1. Unique skills, appraisal, basic skill absorption, mythic universal synthesis, ultimate equipment, holy dragonian blade, C. Ethan quickly allocated his remaining attribute points, feeling a slight surge of power course through him. With a glance at his now extensive list of skills, a thought struck him. He could combine all his earth elemental abilities to create something even more formidable. Without hesitation, he activated Universal Synthesis. Ding! Congratulations! Your skills have evolved into Earth Manipulation, D. Earth Manipulation. The user now possesses the ability to control and shape Earth elements within certain limits. Nice! Ethan exclaimed, a sense of satisfaction washing over him. He had just gained another D-rank skill, and not just any skill, an elemental manipulation ability. This new power would surely make him an even greater force to be reckoned with, and he couldn't wait to test it out. Guys, there is something on the ground, Lenora shouted, her voice tinged with both excitement and curiosity. She pointed to the spot where the last Earth golem had fallen. Lying there amidst the rubble was a strange, heart-shaped object. Its surface was intricately patterned, with glowing runes engraved along its edges. The heart-shaped object lay on the ground, pulsing faintly with a mysterious energy that seemed to call out to them. The room, previously filled with the echoes of their battle, fell into an eerie silence as the party gathered around the peculiar artifact. Cedric stepped forward, casually picked it up for everyone to look. Instantly the information about the object flowed through his mind as Ethan used appraisal. Appraisal. Object, the heart of the earth. Description, equipping it, the user will be granted Geomancer class. Geomancer, a rare class for the individual who yearns to master the earth's essence, allowing them to manipulate terrain, summon earth-based creatures, and wield powerful earth skills. This artifact is said to be a fragment of the original heart of the Earth Elemental King, bestowing incredible control over earth elements to its wielder. Effects: Class unlock, grants the user the Geomancer class upon equipping. Mana boost, increases the user's maximum mana by 25%. Earth empowerment, enhances all earth-based skills by 20%. Resilience, increases defense by 15% when in contact with the ground. +1 active skill slot, Summon Earth Elemental, allows the user to summon a powerful earth elemental to aid in battle once per day. Warning, this artifact is bound to the first person who equips it and cannot be removed without severe consequences. Oh my god, we got a rare class. They recognized the treasure and their voices echoed in unison as they broke into a joyful dance, their excitement palpable. The sheer rarity of the class made this moment even more incredibly. Only 1 in a million hunters ever encountered such a treasure. They were nearly moved to tears, overwhelmed by their extraordinary luck. The thrill of the moment was clear on their faces, each of them basking in the realization of just how fortunate they were. However, Ethan remained composed. While his companions reveled in their discovery, he knew that his newly acquired skill, Earth Manipulation, offered similar capabilities. Though it lacked the ability to summon earth elementals as the Geomancer class promised, it was far more versatile in its application. I already have something close to this, Ethan thought, his mind assessing the similarities and differences. Despite the class's undeniable power, he was confident in the unique strength and flexibility his earth manipulation skill provided. As their initial excitement began to settle, the group faced an important decision: who among them would be the one to wield the heart of the earth? The artifact held unimaginable power, and they knew that whoever equipped it would gain an incredible advantage. It wasn't just about gaining a new class, it was about ensuring the success of their future endeavors. Cedric broke the silence first. I think we should give this to Ethan. What do you guys think? His voice was calm, but firm, reflecting the respect and trust he had for Ethan. Cedric knew that without Ethan's powerful abilities, they wouldn't have made it this far. Reaching the 10th floor of the dungeon had been a team effort, but Ethan had been their anchor. The others nodded in agreement, understanding the logic behind Cedric's suggestion. They all had witnessed Ethan's contributions and skill firsthand. His contributions were undeniable, and many of them silently acknowledged that they owed their lives to his quick reaction and powerful abilities. However, Marcus hesitated, his heart heavy with a mixture of admiration and envy. The prospect of obtaining a class as rare as the Geomancer was tempting beyond measure. A class like this could propel him ahead of others, securing his place among the elite. The desire for power and recognition gnawed at him, making it hard to simply agree with the decision. He took a deep breath, wrestling with his emotions. Yes, he wanted the classer who wouldn't. But deep down, Marcus knew that Ethan was the most deserving. Ethan had been selfless, putting the needs of the group above his own, time and time again. In those critical moments, it had been Ethan's overwhelming force that had led them to victory. Swallowing his personal desires, Marcus finally nodded, though a trace of reluctance lingered in his expression. Yeah, Ethan should have it. He's done so much for all of us. We wouldn't even be here without him. The others followed suit, voicing their agreement one after another. It was clear that, despite any personal longing for the artifact, they valued their unity more. They knew that breaking apart over a single treasure would weaken them as a team, a risk they couldn't afford in their tough battles ahead. Ethan could see the eagerness in Marcus's eyes, despite the latter's attempt to hide it. The Geomancer class was a rare and powerful class, something that could significantly boost the strength of anyone who wielded it. Yet, Ethan knew that his own path was already laid out before him, and this class, while tempting, wasn't meant for him. Thank you, guys, but I think Marcus should have it, Ethan said, his voice steady as he addressed the group. His words caught them off guard, their expressions shifting from surprise to confusion. What? Ethan, you've done more for us than anyone else, Cedric argued, his brow furrowing. You deserve it. Ethan shook his head with a smile. I appreciate that, but I am not suited for this class. I will wait for another powerful class in the future. Besides, Marcus has been putting in the work just as much as the rest of us. This class could really help him. Marcus's eyes widened in disbelief. Ethan, are you sure? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ethan nodded. I'm sure you'll make better use of it than I would. Besides, we're a team. Your strength is our strength. The others looked between Marcus and Ethan, then slowly began to nod in agreement. Marcus hesitated for a moment, clearly conflicted, but the desire in his heart won out. He reached out and took the heart-shaped object from Cedric's hand, his fingers trembling slightly. Thank you, Ethan, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. As turned to others, I won't let you guys down. Lenora and the others smiled, acknowledging Ethan's decision with a sense of mutual respect and understanding. They knew that no matter who equipped the heart, the entire party would benefit from the increased strength. Marcus, now holding the heart-shaped object with both hands, pressed it against his chest. In that moment, a surge of energy coursed through him, and detailed information about his new class began to flood his mind. The connection between him and the earth deepened, making him feel more grounded and powerful than ever before. Without hesitation, Marcus activated his newly acquired skill, Earth Elemental. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the rocks and earth around them began to coalesce into a massive figure. A towering giant, nearly 5 meters tall, emerged from the earth, its body composed of solid rock. It had a massive head with 2 glowing eyes that radiated a faint, mystical light. Its arms were the size of tree trunks, and its legs were thick and sturdy, ready to follow any command Marcus gave. Damn! Cedric exclaimed, his eyes wide with awe. Amazing! Lenora added, her voice filled with excitement. Their astonished voices echoed throughout the cave, a testament to the incredible power Marcus now wielded. The sight of the Earth Elemental standing before them, a testament to their unity and strength, filled them all with a renewed sense of purpose. With this new power at their disposal, they felt more confident than ever in facing the challenges ahead. The group descended cautiously to the 11th floor of the dungeon, their nerves on edge as the temperature spiked with every step. The oppressive heat was almost unbearable, and the air was thick with the acrid stench of sulfur. The walls of the cavern glowed with a sinister red light, illuminated by molten lava that oozed through cracks in the stone. The ground beneath their feet was uneven, a patchwork of black rock and treacherous magma pools that threatened to consume anyone who lost their footing. This is hell, Lenora muttered, her voice barely audible over the crackling of the lava. Sweat dripped down her face, her usually composed demeanor strained by the intense heat. I've been in worse places, Cedric replied with a forced grin, though the beads of sweat on his brow betrayed his discomfort. But I'll admit, this is pretty damn close. Ethan led the group, his senses heightened as he adjusted to the sweltering environment. His earth manipulation skill hummed with energy, tuning into the volatile landscape around him. Despite the heat, he remained calm, his mind focused on the task ahead. He could feel the tension in the air, the subtle shifts in the earth beneath them that hinted at the dangers lurking nearby. Marcus, now fully attuned to his geomancer abilities, walked behind Ethan with a deep connection to the earth that was both empowering and unnerving. The heart of the earth, his new artifact, pulsed with energy, but the lava-tainted ground made him uneasy. The earth here was alive, but twisted and malleable and yet resistant, as if it had its own will. "This place feels wrong," Marcus said quietly, his eyes scanning the walls. "The earth here is a broken bar." Angry, he could sense the earth elements in the walls with his earth heart. "It's the lava," Cedric replied, not taking his eyes off the path ahead. "It's infused with fire, making everything unstable." "We need to be careful." Cedric, carrying the group's supply of potions, pulled out a vial and handed it to each member. "Fire immunity potions. We'll need these to survive down here." Ethan shook his head, declining the potion. "I have a passive fire resistance skill. I should be fine without it." Lenora followed suit, her fire crow bloodline granting her natural resistance to heat. "I'm good too." "Oh, okay." The others quickly gulped down their potions, the liquid providing a temporary shield against the searing heat. As they moved forward into the floor, the oppressive atmosphere only grew more intense, the light from the lava casting eerie shadows that danced across the cavern walls. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and the air filled with a deep, rumbling growl. From a nearby pool of lava, two massive figures began to rise, their bodies composed entirely of molten rock. The creatures towered over the group, their eyes glowing with a malevolent light. "Lava giants," Cedric, his voice steady and alarming. "These things are no joke." "Appraisal," Ethan commanded in his mind. The familiar holographic display appeared before his eyes. "Appraisal." "Lava giant. Power level, 17. Type, elemental. Health, 5000. Abilities, molten punch, delivers a devastating blow with superheated fists. Lava burst, erupts streams of molten lava from its body, creating deadly pools of magma. Magma armor, a protective layer of hardened lava that deflects physical attacks. Heat aura, radiates intense heat, burning anything that comes too close. Weakness, water-based attacks, extreme cold. My unique skill appraisal is showing more info about its target now. Did it level up somehow? Yep, that might be it. He had been using this skill frequently for a while now, but there was no indicators about its level up. Ethan quickly relayed the information to the group. "They're only weak to water and cold. We need to keep our distance and hit them with everything we got." Marcus's mind raced as he considered their options. His summoned earth elemental was by his side, reassuring him a little. "We need to create some space," Cedric said, taking charge. "Marcus, can you use your earth golem to distract one of the lava giants? We can focus on taking them down one at a time." Marcus nodded, understanding the urgency in Cedric's voice. He quickly commanded his earth elemental to engage the lava giant on the left, its massive form of rock and stone moving with surprising speed toward the towering creature of molten rock. The two titans collided with a deafening crash, the earth elemental's fists slamming into the lava giant's molten body. However, the heat radiating from the lava giant began to melt the elemental's rocky exterior, making it difficult for Marcus to maintain its form. "I won't be able to hold it for long," Marcus warned, his voice trained from the effort of controlling the earth elemental in such a hostile environment. "We need to act fast." "Got it," Cedric replied, already strategizing their next move. "Ethan, Yona, and I will focus on the other giant." "Lenora, use your fire skills to keep it at bay with Marcus." "And Iris, it's time to use your buff skill." Iris was not only a healer but also an enhancer, who can buff others' capability alongside herself. "Okay." Iris nodded and used her second skill, Greater Strength. Greater Strength, a potent buff skill designed to significantly enhance the target's physical power. This skill is often used to boost a person's raw strength by 15%. She casted the buff skill on everyone, one after another, consuming a significant amount of mana points from her reserve. The effect of greater strength was immediate. The group felt a surge of power course through their bodies, their muscles tightening with newfound energy. Even in the oppressive heat, the boost in physical strength was undeniable, giving them the edge they needed in this deadly environment. Marcus flexed his fingers, feeling the enhanced power in his grip. "All right, let's take these lava giants down," he said, his voice filled with renewed determination. With Iris's buff, he knew their chances of surviving this fight had just increased significantly. The battle began in earnest. Ethan led the charge against the second lava giant, his earth manipulation skill in overdrive as he attempted to stabilize the ground beneath them and use the rocky terrain to his advantage. As the battle raged on, Ethan's enhanced strength allowed him to wield the Holy Dragonian blade with incredible precision and power. There, Azula sword strike, cleaved through the air, its fiery trail slicing into the lava giant's magma armor. Each strike was more effective, chipping away at the giant's defenses and creating cracks in the hardened lava. Cedric moved swiftly, his spear darting in and out with calculated strikes. The added strength from Iris's buff made each thrust and sweep more forceful, piercing through the lava giant's armor with greater efficiency. His attacks were aimed at exploiting the cracks Ethan had created, breaking through the magma armor and landing blows that forced the giant to stagger. Yona's arrows flew true, her increased strength allowing her to draw her bow with greater force. Each arrow struck with pinpoint accuracy, targeting the exposed weak points in the lava giant's armor. The arrows imbued with her magic exploded upon impact, creating small but powerful bursts that further weakened the giant. As the group concentrated their attacks on the second lava giant, the first lava giant, still engaged with Marcus's earth elemental, began to falter. The earth elemental's massive fists, though melted by the intense heat, managed to land a series of solid blows, causing the lava giant to lose its balance and stagger. "I won't be able to keep this up much longer," Marcus shouted, his face flushed with exertion. The elemental was slowly disintegrating under the relentless heat, but it had accomplished its task of distracting the lava giant long enough for the others to focus on their target. "Hang in there," Cedric called out, his spear flashing as he struck the lava giant's exposed joints. "We're almost done." The combined assault of Ethan's powerful strikes, Cedric's precise spear work, and Yona's explosive arrows began to take their toll on the second lava giant. With a final, decisive strike, Cedric's spear pierced through the giant's core, causing it to collapse into a pool of molten rock. Seeing the second lava giant defeated, Marcus breathed a sigh of relief, and he quickly turned his attention to the first lava giant. The giant was now a little weakened, its magma armor cracked and unstable. Ethan, Cedric, and Yona regrouped, their breaths coming in heavy gasps as they focused on the remaining threat. With a coordinated effort, they unleashed their most powerful attacks on the weakened lava giant. Ethan's blade sliced through the magma armor, Cedric's spear pierced the cracks, and Yona's arrows exploded on impact, dealing critical damage. Finally, with a final, devastating blow from Ethan's blade, the first lava giant collapsed, its molten form dissipating into a smoldering pool of molten rock. "That was intense," Cedric said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Great job, everyone." "Yeah," Lenora agreed, giving Iris a nod of appreciation. "Your buff skill was a big help, Iris." "Ding." "Congratulations. You have leveled up." "You have received 5 attribute points to distribute freely." "Current level, 14. Ethan's heart raced as the familiar notification chimed in his mind. Another level gained, another step closer to clearing the dungeon. It had taken them another grueling day to clear floor 11th to 15th, but they had finally finished off the last of the lava giants. The heat of battle had been intense, but the spoils were worth the effort. As the group gathered around the scattered loot, Ethan's attention was elsewhere. His eyes glinted with focus as he mentally reviewed the new skills he had acquired from the lava giants: Molten Punch, E. Lava Explosion, E. Heat aura, E, and magma armor, E. He could feel the potential within these skills, the raw power just waiting to be unleashed. Without hesitation, he initiated the process to synchronize them, aiming to enhance their power. Ding! Congratulations! Your skill synthesis was successful. Your skills have evolved into Lava Juggernaut, D. A rush of power surged through Ethan as the new skill took form within him. Lava Juggernaut, D rank, type, offensive/defensive. Description: Lava Juggernaut transforms the user into an unstoppable force of molten rock and fire, granting immense power and resistance. This skill is perfect for charging through enemies and overwhelming them with sheer force. Abilities: Juggernaut's Charge. The user's molten punch evolves into a full-body charge. Covered in molten lava, the user can break through enemy lines, scattering opponents with sheer impact. Explosive Rampage. With each step, the user triggers a lava explosion beneath their feet, leaving a trail of molten destruction. Molten Juggernaut Armor. A dense layer of magma armor and heat aura surrounds the user, making their defense much tougher. The armor deflects physical attacks and burns anything that comes into contact with it. Volcanic Impact. The user can release all stored energy in a massive, ground-shaking stomp, creating a wave of molten lava that knocks back enemies and deals severe damage. Weakness: Lava Juggernaut excels in overwhelming force but lacks finesse and precision. The skill rapidly drains mana and makes the user a large target for ranged attacks. It is also vulnerable to being cooled or solidified by water or ice-based skills, which can trap the user mid-charge. Whoa! A transformation skill. Nice, Ethan thought, grinning inwardly. The new skill was a game-changer, offering both offensive and defensive capabilities. But it came at a cost. The mana consumption was significant, and he would need to work on increasing his mana reserves after they exited the dungeon. However, Ethan knew he couldn't reveal the full extent of his new abilities to his party members. Having 4D rank skills would make anyone suspicious, perhaps even afraid of him. For now, he decided to keep his new power a secret, continuing to use only 3 skills openly: Inferno Leap, D, Azula Sword Strike, E, and Paralyzing Breath, E, though the latter was used sparingly due to its limited utility. There was also his Berserker's Might skill, a powerful but risky ability that left him vulnerable after use. He hadn't yet found a situation dire enough to justify using it. After distributing his attribute points, Ethan and the others packed their loot-filled backpacks and headed for the exit to the 16th floor. Their spirits were lifted by the substantial rewards they had collected. From the 16th to the 19th floor, the group faced a relentless onslaught of stone golems, earth golems, and more lava giants. The sheer number of enemies, each with their own unique abilities, made the battles arduous. They took frequent breaks, rationing their supplies carefully as they fought their way through. By the time they cleared the 19th floor, their potions were depleted, and exhaustion was setting in, but they had managed to avoid any catastrophic situations. In the midst of these battles, Ethan leveled up again, reaching level 15 and was already halfway to level 16. As he checked his status, a sense of accomplishment washed over him. Status: Name, Engustigro, Ethan Smith. Occupation: Hunter. Race: Human. Level: 15. Class: None. Age: 18. Strength: 34. Agility: 33. Defense: 30. Mana: 2988.070. Attribute points: 0. Skills: Active, Inferno Leap, 34, D. Berserker's Might 5, D. Earth Manipulation -2, D. Lava Juggernaut, D. Azula Sword Strike, 30, E. Paralyzing Breath -7, E. Passive, Blaze Guard 5, E. Fire Serpent's Digestion 2, E. Predator's Instinct 6, E. Special Skills: Monster Breeding, Level 1. Blood Regeneration, Level 1. Unique Skills: Appraisal, Basic, Skill Absorption, Mythic, Universal Synthesis, Ultimate. Equipment: Holy Dragonian Blade, C. Finally, they reached the 20th floor, where the ominous exit loomed before them. The air was thick with tension as they approached the final challenge, the sense of foreboding growing with each step. "Cedric, do you know what's waiting for us on the other side?" Ethan asked, his voice low as they moved cautiously toward the entrance to the 20th floor. Cedric scratched his head, his brow furrowed in thought. "Honestly, I don't know. There's no information about it on the market. My guess is, no one has cleared this floor before. If we manage to do it, we'll be making history." His voice held a hint of excitement, though it was tinged with uncertainty. Lenora, ever the voice of caution, quickly intervened. "Cedric, don't get ahead of yourself. We don't know what kind of monstrosity is waiting for us. We can't rely solely on Ethan's strength alone. We all need to do our part." Marcus and the others nodded in agreement, their faces set with determination as they prepared for the unknown. Ethan and his party descended into the 20th floor of the dungeon. The temperature climbed steadily, and a deep rumbling reverberated through the ground beneath their feet. Each step felt like walking into the heart of a volcano, the heat almost unbearable, but the party pressed on, knowing that this final challenge would be their greatest test yet. The tunnel eventually opened up into an enormous cavern, its ceiling lost in the darkness above. The walls glowed with a dull red hue, magma flowing like rivers along the rocky surfaces. The sheer size of the chamber was daunting, and a sense of foreboding settled heavily on them as they stepped forward, their eyes scanning for any sign of the threat that awaited. Then they saw it. At the far end of the cavern, partially embedded in the stone, stood a colossal figure, its massive form towering over them like a mountain. The creature was nearly 20 meters tall, its body a terrifying fusion of earth and molten rock. Huge slabs of stone formed its core, while rivers of lava pulsed through the cracks, giving it a living, breathing appearance. Its eyes glowed like twin suns, burning with an ancient fury that sent shivers down their spines. "Oh my God! It's huge," Lenora whispered, her voice barely audible over the crackling of the molten rivers around them. Cedric swallowed hard, his earlier excitement drained away, replaced by the cold grip of fear. "That thing is a rock titan. And it's infused with lava. This is way beyond anything we've faced before." Ethan's gaze remained fixed on the titan. His heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay calm. He had faced powerful foes before, but nothing like this. Still, there was no turning back now. Appraisal: Rock Titan, Elite, Power Level, 25, Health, 20,000. Abilities: 1. Molten Core: the Rock Titan's body is fused with lava, granting it immense heat-based attacks and higher resistance to fire and physical damage. The core generates heat that can melt most metals and scorch the ground beneath it. 2. Lava Wave: the Rock Titan can release a devastating wave of molten lava from its core, flooding the battlefield with intense heat and molten rock. This attack is both long-range and covers a wide area, making it difficult to avoid. 3. Earthquake Stomp: with its massive size, the Rock Titan can cause localized earthquakes by stomping the ground. 4. Magma Burst: the Titan can create geysers of molten rock erupting from the ground at will, targeting enemies from below. 5. Lava Shield: the Titan can encase itself in a protective barrier of molten lava, greatly increasing its defense and burning anything that comes into contact with it. 6. Rage of the Titan: when the Rock Titan's health drops below a certain threshold, it enters a berserk state, increasing its power and speed significantly while also becoming more reckless. The realization of what they were up against settled in. This was no ordinary boss, it was a true force of nature. They would have to use every ounce of their strength, strategy, and teamwork to survive this battle. Ethan tightened his grip on his sword, feeling the threat it posed.